Okay, let's get started.
Amy Riley. We have to. Oh, if we only had a little extra after when we say our names.
Yeah, like
You know,
an add-on phrase.
Yeah, something like we say our names, and then it says something. Well, we've already talked about this. This is turtle time. You know what I mean? Just so it fully completes the thought.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that sounded beautiful. Almost like a kids choir came in and was caroling to us right then. Did you feel that?
Yeah. We should go to Tam O'Shanter and sing it there.
Our
table to table.
Our new song?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go to Tam O'Shanter. Let's say, everyone, you are all privileged to know that we recorded a new intro for Turtle Time. We're going to give it to you now first.
The podcast you all know and love.
To people eating dinner at Tam O'Shanter's. Amy, Riley,
they would spit out their prime rib.
Because they are so uproarious with cheer.
Yeah.
Amy, Riley. Okay, so we're definitely going to work on that. What comes after Amy and Riley when we sing song our names? You tell us what you imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine a completion of the song.
Yeah.
You know, Amy, Riley, this is turtle time. You know what I'm talking about? Something like that.
Maybe Candy Burris can help us. Grammy Award winning.
Do you think she would do it pro bono?
Well, I know. Did she do it Tardy for the Party at first for free, but then she was supposed to profit off of the sales, and then Kim never gave her money?
Yes, I think so I think it was friendly, but also Candy I think had to assume that she would get 50% of the rights of this song because she wrote all of it, right? And
well, actually that piano teacher wrote it.
Who did?
Remember? The origin was, if I remember correctly, Kim's daughter was getting like piano lessons or singing lessons or something.
Okay.
And there was this old man who was the teacher, and he wrote Tardy for the Party. And it was really dorky originally. It was like, don't be tardy for the party. And then Candy was like, bum, 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 bum. Like, she spiced it up.
I remember that. And then didn't Nene also, she heard the 5
original
like prospective titles or and she goes, Tardy for the Party is the one that I think hits hard. Was that?
Yeah, but they first played her the original version, and she was like, "What the hell?"
Right. Okay, so wow, I need to watch the compilation of the origin of that because I forgot about the piano teacher.
Yeah, because I wonder if he got any of the pie.
He should have, right? Did he do the? Okay. All right. Well, so bringing that back to Candy, yes, I think Candy would expect royalties. But that's something I'm willing to do if she writes a kick-ass song for us. Would you be willing to split it with Candy?
For sure. She's worldwide.
And we would say like we could have drops in it or tags in it said written by Candy. You know?
Yeah, it would be like Mike Will made it or whatever.
Candy Burris, right?
Candy Coated Nights.
That would be fun. Okay, well, either we're going to sing it out loud at Tam O'Shanter's at some new date for all the dinner patrons, and we'll let you all know when we do that, or Candy will possibly help co-write it.
Yeah.
All this carol talk, Christmas carol, I was wondering, have you been hit by Christmas carolers yet?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Out in the wild?
About 4 different groups.
What?
They sang, well, the first night they sang Silent Night, and then it's unfortunate, but they after they sing the song, they have a big Santa's hat upturned, and they expect money for it. Coins. And so we had a bunch of gold chocolate coins that we gave them, and then they kind of run off and scamper into the night.
I'm scared of these people.
It's their
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
They're wonderful, except I don't understand why they wear masks over their heads to obscure all of their physical appearance. But it is red, nice stocking caps over their heads.
Okay.
Kind of like a what's it called? A balaclava?
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? That's the type of mask that has just your mouth hole and your eye holes.
I hate that.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like
balaclava?
I'm picturing those scary white masks.
No.
Like the Jabberwockies.
One kid did have just sort of like a Clockwork Orange-esque sack on his head. Okay. But then the other ones it was all Christmas themed.
Nothing scares me more than a gang of merry pranksters.
They were awful, those Clockwork Orange boys.
That's like any movie or story where it's like agents of mayhem.
Yeah.
Who are psycho.
Yeah. Oh,
I hate that.
So you don't like The Purge then?
I mean, The Purge is fun though.
Did you watch the first Purge?
I think I've seen. How many are there?
I've only seen the one where Ethan Hawke.
I think I've seen at least 2. There was one that was like election.
I started to watch 2. Yeah, there was Purge Election, Purge Anarchy. I do think The Purge is a good idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, when you said merry pranksters, it totally reminded me of The Purge because they also stand outside looking in the door camera going, come out, come out.
Yeah.
You got to forfeit that guy who you have in your house because we want to kill him.
Yeah. That's like a game they would play on Salt Lake. It would be like during the Purge, like a dinner party, who would you kill?
Yes. Right. They totally would. And it would lead to, I guess, some hurt feelings.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about, that was only 6 minutes. That was good.
So yeah, we already, as some of you may know or have heard, we did a little bonus emergency broadcast the other day because the Vanderpump season 11 extended teaser dropped.
Yes.
And so we figured you guys couldn't possibly wait until Friday to hear our thoughts. They're so important.
And we really have no idea if anyone liked that or appreciated it. It kind of feels like we just sent that into the void. But personally, I felt like it was a success for us to break out of the format and respond to something newsworthy.
It was a 911.
It was a 911. Upon reflection, having sat with that trailer, I don't think you've probably watched it one more time, but has anything started to seep in or resonate deeper than when we talked about it on Tuesday?
Well, not the footage itself, but I've seen other stuff. Like I keep getting served Sheena on that Bravo Hot Mic podcast talking to Alex Baskin, where she's like very tearful and talking about how Ariana doesn't realize how hard this was on her.
Right.
Which is a interesting angle to take. I get what she's saying, of course. Too. But the comments are not kind on those videos.
People are so mean to Sheena. I think everyone just needs to realize Sheena does have that 10% of her that is self-absorbed.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's endearing.
Yeah.
And also, I think, like you said, I understand what she means. She lost Tom Sandoval in this thing, and remember her beautiful story of him pulling her into the red carpet photo that she talked about, where he was the only one who rode for her when Stassi created an army against her. You know, I do understand why she's conflicted, but I think she has this history of being such a flip-flopper that people are just like, this is just exactly what Sheena does, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I do understand the stress. I feel like anyone that was in the middle got thrown to the wolves, like Schwartz too, where it's like, that is a worthwhile topic to talk about, of like the stress of being in between a divorce or a breakup or whatever as a friend, even if what the person did was terrible. It's like, okay, but seriously, do you just like never talk to someone ever again because of something they did to your other friend? Yeah.
And I was also like, there's which we'll talk about, there's extra scenes that were in the Decade of Rumor and Lies special. And like one of them, Sheena and Brock texting Tom Sandoval when his friend died or whatever. And I was like, that's, admirable or whatever that they texted him. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, am I like saying anything pro Sandoval or whatever? And it's like, wait, what the hell am I talking about? Of course. Of course, it's noble and admirable for them to reach out to him when he lost a friend. You know what I mean? It's like we got so in the muck with this thing where we're not even seeing it properly anymore. This is a real human. And also, I don't understand. Schwartz is doing a regular podcast with Tom Sandoval every single week, has fully gotten back with him as a friend, and I don't
Is he on it every week?
Yeah. He's basically the co-host of Tom Sandoval's podcast.
They need to rename it.
Tom Sandoval is probably like, Schwartz, I need
They
you
should
here.
call it the Schwartz and Sandy's podcast. It would be good for business.
That would have been a great idea. Like that Schwartz and Sandy's, the podcast, and it would have brought business, and also it would just tie Schwartz to it. I don't know if Schwartz wants to be tied, but he's been on every single week in the last month. But I'm just saying, I don't see people. I guess people just take that as what Schwartz would do.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't have the same energy towards Schwartz. I just understand that he's going to be the bridge between Sandoval and the other group.
Yeah. I mostly hear about all of these podcasts through TikTok, and there were a couple others. So there's one Charlie was on, Nick Viall.
Right. Yep. That's how you say his name.
And as we've discussed on the side, it just appears he has like a Vanderpump. His podcast, he has Vanderpump people on like every week. He's like sucking on the teat of the Scandoval.
He's got the full teat. He's got the full teat, and he doesn't. I don't think he's ever watched Vanderpump Rules or any of these shows.
Yeah, he's an unreliable interviewer.
He's like, he barely knows who Charlie is.
Right.
And he has her on his podcast asking her questions about shit that he has no clue what he's talking about.
Yeah. And she said that she opted not to be on the show this season and that it just didn't sit right with her. It wasn't what she wanted to do, whatever. And she said that she was talking shit about Sheena, and she said that Brock is a what did she say? Payroll husband.
Okay, so a lot of questions I have for you, just what that open up. Do you think producers, which we saw some of them at the BravoCon panel, do you think they were like, Charlie, please sign your contract. We loved you in season 10. Please, you're not coming back, really? I mean, I do like that she's saying she walked away, and I think Bravo lets Bravo celebrities say they walked away without saying anyone's fired, but I can't imagine that they were beating down the door to get Charlie to sign. No offense.
Right.
She didn't bring anything last season.
Yeah. Well, I felt like they needed her last season, whether or not it was successful, but they used her as like an intermediary for Rachel because she had no one else. So I don't know what her role this season would have really been. So and then she's using this opportunity to like talk shit about the other cast members. And then what does a payroll husband mean to you? Kind of like a sugar baby. But like, okay, so I'm intrigued by this topic because I do think we have really breezed past our collective memory of Brock's entry to the show.
Yes. Because
first of all, we certainly never talk about the ex-wife and the kids thing, which was the whole storyline of season 9.
He sort of got clear of that.
Lala was like, he's a dangerous man. Right. Like, it was like the whole thing was that he was bad. That they were trying to glom on to James's engagement weekend and like not pay. That they wanted Randall to pay for the engagement. That they were always like doing all their YouTube stuff. Like, the whole take originally was that he was kind of like a user.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that we've just post Summer Moon, like we're like, he's the, like, I guess we followed Lala's lead and we're like, he's the best dad on earth. Like, fuck it. Who cares? Like, which is a more, relaxing place to live.
Yeah. Let us just relax with our Brock views and not parse them, too much. But, I totally, when you were saying it, I'm like, wait, what about Brock? And then I'm like, oh wait, God, we did overcome a lot of things to get to this place with Brock. But I don't fault, I know it's offensive, I guess, to say that someone's a payroll husband, but personally, I think that's one of the coolest things in the world, to be a sugar baby.
Okay.
If Brock's a payroll husband, like, he is paid to be her husband, and Sheena loves him, and he loves Sheena, we know. But he is not I guess that means he's not providing. Sheena's providing for him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't understand why that's such a negative. Isn't that like a reverse?
She was basically just saying he like does whatever she wants. And I guess if I'm being cynical, Brock is the ultimate goal for someone like Ariana's boyfriend.
Daniel is like looking at Brock saying goals.
Yeah, like, let's just vlog our life away. Let's, do what's the spawn they do for the factor meals. Let's, like, he basically like hopped aboard this treadmill of opportunities because she's a hustler.
But
that works for them.
Yes.
And so it's a good arrangement.
Yes. I'm just thinking, what could Brock do differently? I mean, I didn't like him going hat in hand around season 9, begging for everyone else's money. Well, not money, but begging to be a part of their social events to finance their lifestyle, Sheena and his lifestyle. That was a rough era for Brock. And James really took him to task for that. Like he was like very embarrassed of Brock. But I think we overcame that.
Oh yeah, wasn't there something about he wanted them all to model for their clothing line or whatever, and there was like drama about not paying anyone. It was
called like Hard Body or something. I don't know if it still exists, but I think it does. But yeah, he wanted all the cast members to be a part of it because you get free publicity if they all do this, and of course he wasn't going to pay them.
Yeah.
There's some. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm conflicted, but I think Charlie just wanted to have a mean dig at Sheena. You know, she's just pissed at her. And payroll husband sounded good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about her take, but it's something where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about all that stuff.
Me too.
And then Katie was on. What was she on? Call Her Daddy? No, what's the other one? Alex Earl.
2 girls in a office, or Ariana was on that. There was a lot of podcasts.
That's the thing. I literally can't keep it straight. I'm sorry, you guys, but Katie was on one of them, and they were asking if she thought Tom Sandoval had changed or like grown, and she said absolutely not.
She said that Katie did?
Yeah.
Whoa.
She was like, he like has barely even apologized. She referenced him on 2 T's in a Pod.
Really?
And said that he was like, I don't get why this one was such a big deal because everyone has cheated. That same old line, you know?
Keep saying that. A cheating scandal on Bravo.
Right.
He's like, he can't believe it.
Right. So she gave him shit for that. And she was saying how, you know, if you apologize, like there are actions more than words, whatever. And then she said a metaphor that really didn't add up. She was saying he was justifying his behavior because everyone had cheated, and she was like, okay, but that all happened like a long time ago, and when we were young and everyone made mistakes, hopefully we've all learned from those poor decisions. You're in your 40s, like you're still doing the same old shit. And she said something like, there are a ton of murderers on death row. Does that mean that murder is okay? And I was like, huh?
Well, let me think about that. There are tons of murderers on death row. Oh, meaning like there are a bunch of cheaters out there. Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, they were punished for their crimes. Right. They're behind bars.
Okay, bad analogy from
And
Katie.
She was like, not to compare cheating to murder. And I was like, well, you keep bringing that. Like, everyone keeps comparing him to a killer, so.
Right. Dangerous and a killer. And I do think it's silly of Tom Sandoval to be like, yeah, I'm a cheater. And cheating has happened all the time. It's like, well, a huge part of this is that we were all shocked by your behavior.
Right.
I thought that you and Ariana had this blissful relationship, that you would never cheat on her and that you had rounded the corner and this was like a sacred relationship. And now he's just like, no, I'm just a cheater like all of them. And I did what I normally do, a cheater man. Right. It's like, well, no, we're surprised by what you did. Right. We're shocked.
Yeah.
And like, who you did it with.
Yeah, like he should be more like, I hold myself to a higher standard than that. Like I fell to the same old tropes of the past, like whatever.
Even if I'm getting so excited about Vanderpump Rules season 11, even if it's like, I don't think it will be, but even if it's like bad beyond belief, like we're like, what happened here? As long as it's not fabricated, fake, like it seems like these storylines were contrived by producers, I will think it's interesting to like really scrutinize every scene, just because how they act in this moment, no matter how they act, is interesting.
Right.
How they move in the wake of Scandival is going to be interesting no matter what, even if it's a lackluster season. I think.
So there are some new previews. Is it from just the season overall or like the first episode?
No, I don't know what the hell they did. To get people to go to Peacock, they played the dog shit 24-minute version on Bravo, which I watched live. A decade of rumors and lies, I think. And then on Peacock, it was an exclusive extended, and then they added those 3 bonus scenes to it. So those weren't in the original broadcast,
right?
Or else I would have enjoyed rumors and lies more, because it would have been like, there's 3 moments to focus on this. They saved that for Peacock.
Okay.
And the 3 scenes were Lala and her mom talking. I'll talk about this one first.
Mm-hmm.
Lala and her mom talking about how Lala is so still hurt by what Randall did, and it makes her untrustworthy of any man in their social circle or anyone, like because she can't trust people anymore. And then she specifically uses an example of Daniel around Ariana. Now it's kind of a tossed off example. Like I feel like she was just grabbing for an example that made sense, but she is saying she is skeptical of who would be around Ariana at this time right now, but she doesn't say it as a full accusation. It's just, so it made sense to me. And also it's like something, it is something to consider.
Yeah.
I don't view Daniel as craven or taking advantage of Ariana. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean,
the jury's out. I have my eyes on him, I'll say.
I think the one thing which we have talked about on Patreon is just that I wish personally that I don't follow him on social media, but I've seen enough of what he originally posted in like the early days with Ariana, where it was like so much focus on getting her in his social media that I was a little worried, where I just wish that he would have relaxed and been like, we're still testing the waters. Like, this is a new relationship. Like, I don't post on social media that much, but he did seem, I think because he already had a social media aspect to his business, he was really utilizing Ariana's personality at a moment when they were just starting out. And I wish he would have cooled it on that.
Right.
But that could have just been someone who's, well, I don't know. I'm giving him benefit of the doubt. I'm just like, you want to celebrate your love. You already vlog, so why not vlog with Ariana at dinner and show her eating dinner with you and stuff? It just,
no, I mean, I was like, we had already talked about that in the past of like, oh God, he's all over this shit. Like, she tends to hang out with people that do like to post everything and whatever. Maybe that's just, I'm a fogey and I don't like to share everything. Yeah. But like, seeing him in the teaser, I was like, oh, he's going to just be on the show now, which like makes me feel weird.
I think if I was a notable person, which I am not, but if I was someone like Ariana and I was out and I was with my real friends, I would expect at some point some lapses of social media coverage.
Yeah.
And tagging and full accounting of what we did together. Like, because so that just personally I know they are not trying to get runoff from my celebrity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are windows where she goes, please, for the love of God, don't post me right now.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're skeptical of people, and Ariana is rising to, celebrity status so much, to not be suspect of the people around her trying to also get some runoff clout from this. Yeah. And I think that Daniel might just fall in an innocent category of that. That's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm just like, I feel like 9 times out of 10 when a housewife or whoever starts dating someone who is comfortable on the show, when they break up, you're like, oh, they were like here for the cameras, like John Jansen style or whatever.
There is a very significant amount of significant others in the Bravo universe that have been ultimately doing this for fame.
Yeah.
And so Lala questioning Daniel, I don't take as anything more than that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
So that was it. I think that's all that was notable about that clip. It was really just about, and she's also talking about her family unit. Like, now her mom moved to Los Angeles, to be close to her. Her brother moved to be close to her. So she has this like family unit, and it's like she's just rebuilding her life post Randall. I think that was what the clip was.
I think it was in the decade of rumors and lies, but they showed her when she finally revealed who her man was, and I forgot. I always remember how funny it was when they showed him, but also when she goes, I can say his name, it's Randall. And I was like, it's like the worst name ever.
I just think
it's like not sexy.
I can't tell if she's embarrassed ultimately when she does her reveal, or if I have secondhand embarrassment because of how the world felt about Randall. But I can't help but think Lala had to say this is sort of a disappointing reveal, right?
Yeah, both in name and appearance.
Just for how she touted him, and it's not his. It's not his fault. I mean, I guess we can talk
He's
shit
a
about
shitbag.
Randall. I know. I tried to get on the side of everyone when they were starting to say how great Randall was. We ordered those 2 chicken breasts with no bun at dinner, and Jax liked him, and Sandoval was playing poker with him.
Yeah, that's when he took all Jax's money and got invited to his wedding on the spot and was like, Sandoval's out, you're in, you're my best man.
Yes, exactly. That was the era also where Jax was like on the set of The Irishman being like, I'm an executive producer on The Irishman. And he was like showing his director's chair on set. And really, that was just a full pay to play. Like $60,000, you get to be a producer on Midnight Through the Switchgrass or whatever.
What if Jax produced Killers of the Flower Moon?
Oh my God. And he got a single card. It just said, what would it say? Like
it's like a film by.
Yeah, a film by. Yeah.
Did you see his crazy Instagram post?
Yes.
That with the music, and it's like,
what was the song?
I'm back.
Well, first of all, what was that choice of photo? Because it not
scary.
only looks horrible filter, like just everything about it, but like why did he choose that photo as his coming back? Also, was that to be that he's coming back to House of Villains? It's wild.
Yeah, it says, I am back, ... And it's only the beginning. Devil emoji. # #1 guy in the group.
Okay, so first I thought that was to announce that he's coming back to House of Villains, but I think it's just like he's saying Jax is back for the world. But why is he officially back now? Because he was in that trailer for Vanderpump Rules?
I guess.
What song did he play?
It's, I don't know.
Not Guess Who's Back.
Let's see. Hold on.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker.
Okay, that's cool. I wish I would have played
Coming in hot like a fajita.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, I will say, in his defense, Jax is back. I mean, there were the doldrums for him. We talked about it. Him and Brittany had the doldrums. Now he's got a bar. He's got a spinoff. He's back on Vanderpump Rules. He's on House of Villains. I mean, you can't count him out, right?
I guess. I mean,
he's back.
They put everybody on those House of Villains type shows. They'll put like a hobo on the street on that show.
Okay, don't give me House of Villains. Take that away. Jax's Studio City, which is actively becoming a haunt for people to go to. No, it is. No.
Wait. Show me the stats.
No, people go there.
It's gonna close.
Can I tell you? Actually,
yeah.
We were in Sherman Oaks last night.
Yeah.
And we were gonna do an impromptu little peek into Jax's Studio City just to see what it was like. It was closed.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Sorry, Jackson Studio City, to call you out, but it was a Wednesday night at like 10, and it might be one of those bars that are only open Thursday through Sunday. I don't know. Anyway,
well, it's like that thing that someone posted. They saw Sandoval the week of Thanksgiving at Tom Tom, and they were like, "I just tried to go to Schwartz and Sandy's, and it was closed." He was like, "It was?"
Who said that?
Sandoval.
Yeah, wow.
He didn't know it was closed.
Wow, that's great. So what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about the scenes in Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, so what were the other ones? I saw one where Ariana's talking to Katie about like that Sandoval won't move out.
Yeah, she's just, for people who are very concerned, like it sounds like Lisa's concerned. I know the world is confused by what's going on with Ariana and Tom's situation. Mm-hmm. She clearly lays out what is going on. She does not want to forfeit the house that they bought together to have him live in it after her and her be bought out, especially for a shitty price that he was offering. Mm-hmm. In her world, they divide the asset completely and fairly, and they both moved to separate places. Yeah. She doesn't want to lose in terms of why does she have to move after being cheated on?
Right.
And he ruined their life. Why does she now have to, even though she could?
Yeah.
She doesn't want him to win this house.
Yeah.
And I agree with it. A lot of people would say that house sucks. I'm sorry. Not a lot of people would say that, but I'm just saying she could say, fuck that house. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with it. Let him rot in that, shitty hellhole. Yeah. But that gives Tom something.
Right.
How do you tell me? I'm advocating
I mean,
for Ariana.
I get it. I just I don't know if I would be able to be petty for that long if it affected my living situation, especially with the pets and everything. I'd be like, it's worth it for me to swallow my pride and cut ties to get the fuck out of here. That whole situation must be weighing her down so much. It's like when a divorce goes on for 5 years and it's you're spending millions of dollars to get to the bottom of it, when it's okay, we should have just made a deal up front. Even though I hate you, I don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. So if Ariana was just I already can move to a better place. He's going to buy me out for the right price. Just let him have, this house, and I'll move on because my life will be so much better once I'm out.
And you don't have to fucking deal with him anymore. it's I understand being petty and being like, I'm not gonna fucking do it. And also I assume she has more options than him. Like, even if, so say they did split it, whatever they got, like $500,000 each or whatever, I'm like, he can't do much with that.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is the best he can do.
I agree with you, and I do think for people, there's a significant amount of the audience that says, Ariana, just get the hell out of there. What does it mean that you're not trying to get out of there, that you're like trying to stand your ground and live in the same space as him, and like you're trying to like reap more reward from this situation? But then I also understand that she thinks he blew up their life, so why does he get any satisfaction post Scandival that he gets to just stay in the house that we both bought together, live here, and I have to move and do one of the most horrible things? So either way, we can be divided on it, or anyone can be divided, but that scene is just explaining the situation. And then it also has a funny moment. I don't know if you remember, where she's getting texted by the assistant or by someone, where the neighbors complained about the LED lights in their backyard, and then Ariana goes, we coordinate through an assistant, and she texts the assistant, and the assistant gets that message from Ariana about the LED light complaint, and then she says what Sandoval said, which is that our LED lights fall under freedom of speech. Did you see that part?
No.
He said, I am almost positive, and I'm like, am I dreaming this? He says, my LED lights constitute free speech or fall under free speech, which is very silly.
That's hilarious.
So like, that's how they coordinate their messages.
See, like, to me, that's like not worth it. Like, I'd be like, kill me. You know what I mean?
I totally understand that there are people that would just get out. Ariana is going to find a way better house that she loves and not have to deal with his bullshit. But there's just something about the what is that? The ethic of that this happened.
I also that clip is from probably, June or something. So I don't know what's going on now. I feel like at this point it's more of like a legal matter of like figuring out what the best deal is to be had.
And I do think, and I think a part of it is that he just has not given an appropriate deal. And like, she will lose money on this, even if she does sell. So I think there might be some sticking points just financially.
Right. Yeah, I'd be like, I'm kind of surprised that he could even buy her out, because isn't the thing that he's in like massive debt?
Well, in his financially, season 11 was filmed. He made $1 million or more on that, and I think he is. I don't know. He's making money, ad money. I don't know how many like patrons he has or whatever, but he's making ad money on his podcast.
I'm just stressed about his finances. Like, I don't even want to think about it.
I think he's doing okay. I think they make more money than we know, and at least he just got a ship just came in with $1 million for season 11.
That's true, but doesn't he owe, like, for the bar, wasn't that like $250,000, and then he has the mortgage already?
Do you think Schwartz and Sandy's is doing good financially?
I mean, I feel like it probably isn't in the green yet.
Right.
Like, that'll probably take like more years, which like I don't even know if it'll last that long.
Yeah, so the question, could he buy Ariana out? I don't know. Yeah. And there's still no resolution to this, so it's not even like we get to have clarity in season 11. This is still ongoing. So that clip was basically to let the audience know what was going on with their living situation. And then the Sheena and Brock scene, which is less essential but still kind of interesting, is that they reached out to Tom Sandoval because he suffered the loss of like a best friend that the whole Vanderpump Rules cast knew. Like, Ariana knew him. He was like his best friend from, I think, his hometown.
Okay.
So everyone knew him. He was around Tom Sandoval before Vanderpump Rules started. He passed away. And so a lot of people reached out independently. I remember Kristen talked about it. She's like, I can't keep my mean anger at Tom Sandoval right now when I know he just lost, someone so important to him.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
at the time.
It happened like, I think maybe only a couple months after Scandival, like very recently. Oh. And so, anyway, so Sheena and Brock reach out to Tom Sandoval, and then Sheena finds out that she's been blocked by the number. It's like however you find out that your messages are blocked. So then she does some deep diving, and she finds out that he blocked her on Instagram, he blocked her sister on Instagram, and he blocked Summer Moon on Instagram.
That's so funny.
I think
blocking a baby, but it makes sense. It's basically her burner account,
Right. So I think he just, whatever. I don't know what it led up to this. I think these are all scenes from like the first episode. So
Okay.
that's the place that him and Sheena are in at the start of season 11. So those are the scenes, and they actually, if they would have been in Decade of Rumors and Lies, I would have liked that special, but I watched it live without those scenes.
Yeah.
And it was such a shitty production. I mean,
Yeah. It was like, I mean, it would be for if you had never seen the show. And even then, I don't know if it did a good job.
I think
but
it would
like,
be way too convoluted. I was like,
it was complicated.
It was so complicated. I would have been confused just relying on that, I think, as a first-time viewer.
I do think I would love to make ASMR out of the Lisa narration, though.
I think there was something soothing and comforting about how Lisa did it, but I don't know if it was the proper energy to introduce this show and recount this show. She seemed a little bit on autopilot.
Yeah.
And having Lisa scripted, you lose so much of her fun, off-the-cuff language, which I thought that that was the redeeming aspect of this special. I thought that Lisa was going to provide new commentary on scenes, and she really didn't. It was like written by an editor or a producer for her to read, and she gave nothing to that performance.
Yeah, I wrote down some of the lines. One of them was about Kristen thinking that Tom was cheating. She goes, "Call it women's intuition, or maybe too much rosé."
I liked that. Also, it seemed like Kristen, when you look in hindsight, and we've been talking about it as we recap Vanderpump Rules season 3, Kristen sort of gets a decent edit. Even like Lisa reading these lines, she's like, Kristen was right. You lose him how you get him.
Yeah.
She warns Ariana that he cheated on her and then that could happen to her.
Yeah.
Like Kristen, they excise a lot of Kristen's worst moments and just show that a lot of the times she was on the right side of the history, especially with Scandival.
Yeah, I feel like Scandival, that was the huge revelation, which is like why they brought her in for that like on the run episode they shot or whatever, because I think it's more complicated than that. Like, so much has happened between what happened then and now that it's not like cut and dry. Like, I told you this would happen, because it's like, okay, well, it's been 10 years and it finally happened.
But you know, but she was right initially, just given what we found out about Ariana and Tom and Miami Girl and stuff. I'm just saying, but yeah, you're right. It took a long time for her to get that redemption. 7 years. By
the time she like didn't even want it anymore, and was friends with Ariana.
I was just gonna say, you know, is Kristen gonna be in season 11? But then I clearly remember when we went to emo night to watch Katie, Sheena, and Ariana perform, which was, you know, very powerful. Kristen was there in the audience watching them, so she's going to be on season 11.
But she was maybe not on camera.
I don't know. She was in that section where they were just filming everyone. So I mean, unless she's just going to be background, but I feel like having Kristen in a scene is going to be too provocative to not explain that she's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think having Kristen in the background of the scene, people watching Vanderpump Rules season 11 with her not blurred out would be like, what are you doing? That's a cast member of Vanderpump Rules for 8 years.
Wasn't there like drama, like they wouldn't let her friends in or something?
Yeah, she couldn't get, she was with 2 people or 1 person, and they weren't on the list to get into that special cordoned off section. And so she was like kind of raising hell for a minute to get them in, and then she eventually got in.
I'm just trying to remember. I feel like they didn't get any good shit in my memory up in that section. It was kind of like B-roll. Like it was James and Lala watching. And like,
no, well, yes, I think we might not know, but I've witnessed scenes in person where I thought, what the hell, they didn't get anything. And then if you watch the episode and you see what conversation they're having, it's a big deal. And I do remember like Schwartz and James hugging, and Sheena and Schwartz, and we forget that Schwartz was like on the outs too, just like Sandoval. So I think there's some like Schwartz redemption in those scenes. Okay. And we don't know what they're saying. Like there could be big scenes there, you know?
True. Yeah. Okay. And then is that all of the scenes on the thing?
Yeah. I almost don't want to talk about Kim and Kroy, but I mean,
I'll just say quickly, I don't know if you guys saw this on TikTok or whatever. They keep getting, which I'm like, what is the like legality? I understand the legality of body cam footage being public for the safety of the public, because then when cops do shady shit, we can see it and they can't obstruct it. But it seems like a fucked up loophole that we get to see all of these like domestic disputes on TikTok.
No, I agree, and I'm glad you said something because that's a question I had. I wanted to ask you. Body cam footage. I know the public has access, exactly what you said, but TMZ can buy it and brand it and give us a peek into two public figures horrific fighting. And like, is it just available to the public and TMZ got it?
Like they
officially
just search every time there's a call to that house, probably.
But like, I guess my question is all body cam footage, regardless of what you witness, available to the?
I guess it seems like it should have to be released or something. But then I guess
TMZ shouldn't be able to brand it and like say it's a TMZ exclusive or whatever.
Yeah, I've watched there's like a Teen Mom situation that I've watched. I've Kim and Kroy like 1 million times. The cops have been going to their house seemingly weekly for the whole year, and it's horrible.
And just to add that also in the midst of this and what I just saw, which I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible what you guys are going through. In the midst of this, Kim Zolciak is on Instagram and Twitter posting, "We're having a new baby. Click the link to find out what this ultrasound is
that
for."
On Celeb Buzz too?
Yes. So I'm just saying,
it's psychotic.
She's profiting off the speculation about a marriage that is the most toxic shit I've ever witnessed in my life.
It's really dark. I'm actually afraid. Like, I'm gonna say it now. Like, I am afraid to even touch this with a 10-foot pole because when I watched it, I was like, this is going to end.
Oh, no, I know.
With something horrible.
That's why I don't want to, that's why I don't
like,
even really want to talk about it.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Kroy seems, it's interesting though. I mean, the comments are all very much in defense of Kroy. Basically, every single comment is like, she ruined him. And I'm like, he's grown. Like, they participated together. They're a folie à deux.
They're a folie à deux, like you just said. What does that mean? Twin follies?
Yeah. Like,
folie à deux?
What does it stand for? It's like the two people acting a fool together.
I know it's the name of the beautiful new Joker film that's coming out.
Yeah. It's like,
Twin follies?
Yeah, it's like two people doing fucked up shit together.
We got two perspectives. We saw how pissed and rage-filled and fed up Kroy is. And then we saw how sad Kim was to be screamed at. She can't leave her house.
All the comments were like crocodile tears about Kim.
Anti-Kim.
I mean, what did you just say about that article?
What? No,
she's playing both sides.
Here's what she's doing. She is so craven, and Kim is. I don't feel any qualms about calling her craven. Mm-hmm. She's craven for money, and even a little bit of publicity that she is using Celeb Buzz, who's offering her maybe like $100 to post shitty links to old, outdated articles and have them have provocative clickbait. Vicky does it too.
Yeah,
I understand though why. Well, I'm not saying I understand, but Kroy is pissed because there's all these updates going out into the world saying they're going to Chili's and they're having a new baby and they're back on their marriage, which Kim is perpetuating, that is boggling his mind.
Yeah.
So it's horrible. I mean, they need a restraining order on each other.
Yeah.
They need to be
apparently
separated.
Like the cops were saying that the kids are the ones that called because they were like, "What are you doing here?"
He goes, "What kids?" He goes,
it's so not funny. I'm just, it's so
why the hell did you laugh? No, he goes, he's so pissed. It's awkward laughter because he was so pissed. You watch it.
He just looks like
he's screaming.
He's on
cop.
The brink.
Yeah,
and it looked like they almost arrested him if you watch till the end because he's saying you're not allowed to be here.
Yeah, so this is not funny at all. But my solution is, and to wrap this up, this is a horrible situation. Kim and Kroy, you need to remove yourselves. It will never feel more toxic than how it does now when you're living in the same home with your children, and it's bankruptcy and it's horrible. Here's what I'll say as one possible solution. That's my real advice. Then my turtle time advice is, do you want to take Kroy and I'll take Kim
and let them stay with us?
You choose.
Separately?
I will house Kroy or Kim, depending on what you want.
I'll take Kroy because he is a jack of all trades, and I have some projects for him.
What could he do to earn his keep around here?
He could style my wigs, like he did for Kim.
Kroy did that?
Yes, he
I
did.
don't remember that.
He did.
He styled
As
them?
a longtime Don't Be Tardy viewer.
And just so you know, this is the break-in. That was real news. This is now Turtle Time, hot or whatever, take, speculation, just silliness. Okay.
I bet he can do any kind of plumbing or carpentry repair.
Okay. So I get Kim.
IKEA.
Okay.
You can go gambling with Kim.
No, I'm full. Whatever a light intervention is on Kim. I'm saying, Kim, I'm sorry. You don't have car privileges because I know you're going to go out and gamble. You have to sit with me and my wife under our Christmas tree and talk about what's going on and figure out a new path for your life and find out what interests you apart from gambling.
Yeah.
We would watch, maybe I could watch Don't Be Tardy for the Party for the first time so she could reminisce on the better times with Kroy.
Oh man, it really like breaks my heart because I understand that when you do watch the show that you're like, wow, you guys are spending way more than you have, and she gambles a ton and buys unlimited shit online and like just designer goods and just spend, and of course that's always going to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do think that they had a great love story, and like their family was sweet, and like they had like their dogs, and then at one point on the show their dog, like there was an accident and he attacked their son, and they did this whole thing where they kept the dog, which I like really like respected. Like they like went through the hard work of keeping him, and I saw that dog in the video and I was so sad because I was like, this household is broken. It's so sad. And like I feel so bad for the kids.
I totally agree. They had a real spark of love, and it's like any marriage can go from heaven to hell.
It's scary.
And they're in hell right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they even just had weeks to be apart and breathe and think about life outside of that hellhole, they would have completely different outlooks. And it's just like they're in misery together.
Yeah.
Like absolute misery.
Yeah. They need Susie Orman. They need to sell everything they own.
Orman?
The financial expert.
Financial expert to the stars?
You've never seen Susie Orman?
No.
Kristen Wiig used to always play her on SNL. She was on Oprah all the time. She's like a brass tacks money lesbian who tells you to cut out the Starbucks. She would hate that. Waste of money.
All Starbucks?
If you're broke.
Okay. Okay, so she gives advice to people who are broke.
Yeah, like she used to, on Oprah, they would have people that were in massive debt. And she'd be like, well, let's look at your expenses. And it would always be like insane.
Yeah, I'm no Susie Orman, but I would say they have to sell the house, sell all their stuff. They need to move in either with you and I separately or separate condos that they rent.
Yeah.
Kim could be a cast member on Atlanta if she was able to say to production, I will never refuse a call time, and I will film with these people, with my fellow cast members every single time. I'm sorry I have a reputation as being negligent on my duties. She could be back on Atlanta.
Yeah.
She really could.
Yeah.
That's a significant amount of money.
She's just like completely delusional and in denial and so obsessed with keeping up appearances.
I know.
She like really needs to like be humbled and be like, I can't have a Range Rover anymore.
I can't. Yeah, it's like you just have to say what actually matters in life. And obviously, what is essential to their life now is creating a horrible, horrible nightmare for them. So they need to be removed from their wealth, and they need to figure out a realistic strategy for building income again. Right. And I think they could do it separate from each other. I think it's just them together. And also, though, we have to account for Kim's presumed gambling.
For sure. That seems to be one of the main issues.
So we have to figure out, you and I, just how we get her to not gamble anymore.
Yeah. Take her phone away and the keys.
I don't know if we have any gambling addicts that listen to this, but if you scratch that itch with a fake gambling mechanism that only pays you out in, let's say, like crypto, like 1% of what the actual worth is, and you get that same thrill, but the money is 100% hundredth of what you actually spend, would that scratch the itch? Like, does doing games like a slot machine on your phone, but knowing that you could only make the ratio within your means, does that
I feel
scratch
like that's like drinking non-alcoholic beer.
That's a
like,
good thing, right?
Well, but if what you want is the high.
Okay, I'm saying she can still, it's still a recovery process.
Yeah.
But wouldn't some itch be scratched if the sums of money just didn't equate to? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not a gambler. I've never done this. I have no attraction
I think
to
it's
gambling.
like the behavior itself. Like, I was watching Teen Mom, and one of the girls, her mom is a gambling addict, and she was in rehab for, I think, drugs and possibly alcohol too, but gambling was a part of it. And she was saying, like, when I gotta get out of here, let's go play bingo at the town hall or whatever. And she was like, bingo's gambling, bitch. Like, she was like, even that was like, that's the behavior that I think is a slippery slope.
But aren't they games? They're games.
Maybe she can't play games.
Right.
That can be her new tagline.
I traditionally like to have fun, but I can't play games.
I legally can't play games.
You knew me as used to be having fun, but I legally can no longer play games.
It'd be like, getting in a fight with me is a gamble, but that's a bet I can't take.
We're pitching new Kim taglines, right? For Atlanta.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm gambling with now is my livelihood.
Is my love life.
Is my love life. The only thing I'm taking a huge gambling risk on is my love life.
It would be like, I'm putting all my chips into my love life, and I'm raking it in or something.
That's one of the best ones. And this is Kim would, I think Kim would like what we're saying. I don't think we're being offensive.
Yeah.
We already gave our full accounting of it. This is just, I don't know. She's gonna, they just need to separate. That's my main advice.
Is it like a thing where can the courts legally separate them because they keep fucking calling 911?
I think a third party or like some sort of press outlet who has witnessed what's going on is the only ones who can deem that they should be separated. So someone like, hypothetically, you or I could put in
we'll go back to court like we did for Sheena.
Yeah.
Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is just that I saw, again, I'm on TikTok. I need to delete the app. I'm on here too much.
Wait, no, you can't.
I know, but it's
you can't
like I stay up so late. It's so bad. But Bethany did a post about Kim and Kroy, and at first I was like, oh God, like here we go. She loves to bring up her traumatic childhood, but it actually was like quite relevant and interesting.
You saying anything positive about Bethany is music to my ears. I'm so happy.
No, it was interesting because she was, first of all, very empathetic about them. She wasn't being judgmental. She was saying how sad it was. And
she didn't say this is sort of like the Bethany Clause.
She did not say Bethany Clause. But she brought up the racetrack, her favorite thing to talk about. But
of course.
It was relevant in this case because of the gambling. And she was saying how she grew up in a house of horrors where her mom and stepdad or whatever were in constant like brawling, fighting, making up, having money and then having none, cars getting repossessed, her having to go stay with someone else, just like, and she was like, she said she was triggered by the Kim and Kroy video because she was like, that's exactly what my household was like. Man. Which is so fucking sad because I feel like the Biermann children had like a good life.
I mean,
and now they're going to be fucked because they're still really young.
I know. Oh, no, I know. It's horrible. I mean, some people say, I guess gamblers say, it's the worst addiction because it just, like, financially ruins you.
Right.
And you, like, can't recover from that versus getting help for something. If you're still alive, you can sort of get help, but they're financially ruined. And you're right. I mean, they were doing well. They just lived beyond their means, and she has a gambling addiction. I forget what I was going to say, but Bethany, I'm glad that she had a reasonable, take on this thing and didn't, like, try to, like, make more of it than just saying David Milch did that. This just reminded me, I just read this book. You know David Milch?
No.
Oh, he's the creator of Deadwood.
Okay.
He got so much money from NYPD Blue and all these like network shows that he created that he had like $600 million. Like he was just his residuals. Like he was the richest.
That was the heyday.
Yes. And he would like buy houses for cast members like on his shows. Like he was like the most, he did not give a shit about money at all because he just had so much. And he would go to the racetrack and he was in debt like 10 or 15 years later, like he had gambled away. It's maybe not 600 million, but it's a staggering amount of money that you can't even imagine someone making now.
Yeah.
Like maybe 100 million, and he gambled it all away.
Insane.
And now, yeah, anyway, that's the David Milch minute. But I'm glad you brought up Kim and Kroy. I think that was actually fruitful.
I'm like actually so worried about them. Like it just feels like it keeps going and being unresolved, and I don't really pay attention to it because it keeps being like, oh, they're actually back together again, which also Kroy seems to be confused about.
Yes.
So it sounds like she's holding the cards.
And Kim needs to stop purposefully leaking information to press for money.
Yeah.
Because it's convoluting their story.
Right.
And adding to why people are so confused about the situation. They just both need to. Yeah, I mean, we've said it enough. I mean,
he at one point said to the cop that Kim is getting with other men.
Yeah, making love.
Which I'm like, I can't even imagine her having the energy to do that unless she's like trying to find a new big papa.
It's probably like, it's reminding me of Sharon Stone in Casino.
Yeah.
Where it's like
acting out, and also like like she feels like she has to lay the groundwork for the next step post Kroy. That character, she like tortures Robert De Niro.
Now that I said it, she kind of is like Sharon Stone in Casino.
I mean, glamour.
Right? She has it all. I love that film.
What's her name in that? Like Pepper or something?
Ginger.
I knew it was a little spice.
Ginger. That's one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. If our little turtle cuties have not seen Casino, watch Sharon Stone in that. She rips the hell out of that performance.
I've said it before. Best fashions ever.
That movie.
I think like the costume budget for her alone was like $1 million.
It's so fun. I mean, get in the Las Vegas spirit. Watch how the mob used to run Vegas, and watch Ginger. Vegas baby, and watch Sharon Stone just fucking slay the Ginger performance.
She's a bad mommy.
She's horrendous. And she loves James Woods. James Woods is like this slimy, devious. You've never seen a character that was this slimy and devious. And he just whispers in her ear. He goes, Ginger, come back to me. Where are you at, honey? Give me Robert De Niro's money. I need it so bad right now. And it's like, anyway.
Remember Jill Zarin's dog, Ginger, that would lick the inside of her nostril?
Of course, I remember that dog. I hope Ginger is still with us.
Oh, no way.
Do you remember? Do you remember when Ginger and Jill invited Bethany over to do her redecorated apartment? And she had the big, I think it was a yin yang table and stuff. Yeah. And Bethany had to bite her tongue about how bad it looked.
That hideous redesign by her friend Brad.
Yeah. Remember when Brad was like in Morocco all of a sudden for no reason? When they were...
He was iconic.
Yeah, he was.
Everyone was like, "What's his deal?"
I was over Jill and I was mad at her for all this stuff, and now I kind of miss Jill.
Those are the days. My DVR recorded a bunch of like season 3 Roni that I haven't watched, but I will. But the icon now is the new cast, like on DirecTV, and I'm like, get their asses off my screen when I'm watching the old Roni.
It doesn't make any sense to go to Roni on Peacock and see that new cast, knowing that 13 seasons were dedicated to a previous incarnation. It just doesn't make sense brand wise.
No, it's whack.
Did you read the? Just let's finish this.
No, you didn't link me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Brian Moylan. I do think that's worth checking out for anybody. It's Vulture, which Vulture is paywalled. But if you go to
across the board, it's
paywalled unless someone links you or you go through social media. But if you ever want to get around a paywall, and I'm not saying to do this all the time, but there is a website called 12 Foot Ladder where you just input a link that's paywalled and you get access to the article. But don't do that all the time. Only use that strategically, but I think you should pay for journalism.
Yes.
I'm just saying, if there's something that's so essential that you have to look at it and it's news that you have to have, that's an emergency resource. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. If you're don't go to 12 Foot Ladder. I'm just saying, if you have to see something that's paywall, that's
okay. Well, maybe you can screenshot the article and send it to me. Is that better?
That's much better. Actually, don't use 12 Foot Ladder. I will screenshot the article to anyone who needs it if you don't have Vulture premium subscription. Okay,
great.
Did we do good?
Yeah, let's turtle piss break, and then
you have to piss?
I do, and then Southern Charm minute.
Yeah, I didn't think we would talk for an hour, and I think that means it's good. Because if we were spinning our wheels and running out of fumes, 30 minutes later, I would have been upset. That was a good hour. Let's piss. then, like you said, Southern Charm to honor the what do we call our Southern Charm? The Southern Charm Challenge.
Yes.
Honor the Southern Charm. Oh, you have to piss. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry.
You could see me starting to be like, I gotta go.
Sorry. Southern Charm, Beverly Hills, Salt Lake City, Winter House, certified turtle piss. I'm sorry, Amy.
The couch is just soaked.
Amy pissed. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, let's clean up the couch and we'll be right back. We cleaned up. Right?
We're all good.
It was not as bad as I thought. A huge puddle, but we're drying up the
I had
cushion.
a wee pad under me.
Yeah,
luckily.
Which we don't ever get too into certified turtle piss breaks, but if we ever do miss one, we just let it go, and then we wear diapers and wee pads.
Like that astronaut.
Which astronaut?
The one that drove cross country to go see the other astronaut. You don't remember that? She like went insane and was dating, I think, another astronaut, and she wanted to drive cross country to go find him, and so she wore a diaper. You don't remember that?
Can you elaborate on this story that I've never heard?
I don't know much more about it. Wasn't there a movie about it?
This is a real life story?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I clear up the details? One astronaut had previously dated an astronaut.
I think.
They separated. They were across the country. And then this astronaut wanted to get back to their former love astronaut and decided to hightail it across the country wearing a diaper.
Yes.
And this was enough of that detail was notable enough to where that's the one aspect of the story that people
the diaper's
remember.
the big thing.
And
it was like late night fodder.
And this happened in real life.
Yeah. It was maybe 5 years ago, maybe more.
So 2018.
Yeah, I'm making that up. I mean, you know how I am with time. I'm going to look up astronaut diaper.
You think astronaut diaper is going to cover it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, while you look that up, I'll tee up.
Astronaut diaper, it immediately says Lisa Nowak.
Okay, Lisa Nowak.
It says the Denver Post, diaper-wearing astronaut jailed in love triangle plot.
Diaper-wearing astronaut jailed in what plot?
Lisa Nowak, why the astronaut drove 900 miles to attack her ex's girlfriend.
Oh my God. I'm going. I think I have so many questions.
Oh, sorry. It was 2007. It was a long time ago.
Okay. I don't know what I was doing. I was in college, and I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the news like that. But I'm gonna read that article after.
Great. By the way, my cat is like absolutely railing into your backpack. I think she smells your puppies and is excited about it.
I like that. I put a bunch of little food items in there because I bring bologna, sandwich to your house, and so maybe she smells like my little lunch pail in there. But
now she's licking her butt. So.
I also wanted to say, because I didn't say already, just how beautiful your apartment looks festively.
Oh, thank you.
You won't be able to see it, I think, on YouTube, and so don't even try. But it looks beautiful in here.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm glad that you're here to experience it.
Oh, this is good. Okay, Southern Charm for people who wait.
Yes.
To do the Southern Charm Challenge. What the hell was this episode called?
Chasing Waterfalls.
Okay.
I guess that works.
Yeah, not as lazy as normal. Not as lazy as Jamaican Me Crazy.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, what are the lyrics to Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls?
Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
Yeah.
I know
if
that
you want to have it your way.
Or no way at all.
But I think you're moving too fast.
Can I tell you a horrible memory I have?
Okay.
I watched that video whenever it came out. I don't know how young I was, but I had no grasp of what that song was talking about. And people were like disappearing in the video. And like it's like a video and it shows people like disappearing or whatever. And then an elder told me, I go, I don't understand this video for this song. And they go, they're dying of AIDS. And I was like, what?
Is that true?
I have no clue. I've never looked it up, but that's just sorry. I didn't even mean to bring that up, but I guess, okay, maybe I should.
Do you remember the Unpretty music video where they show someone getting their breast implant taken out? And I remember being scarred by that.
No, I don't remember that either.
It was like a treatise on like beauty standards, and it included like a girl like being like, I don't know, pressured into getting breast implants or something. And I remember being like 8 years old and being like, oh my God.
What era was this in?
Late 90s?
Yeah, I swear.
Early thousands. Early thousands.
I'm going to look up, and I've never thought about that thought up until now, but so I have to look into what that means. It could have just been their interpretation of what it meant. I thought that song was about don't cheat.
Right. Candy didn't write that one, did she? No.
I don't know. Maybe
she wrote no scripts.
Okay. All right. Well, if that, I'm sure that's not what that video is about. But someone like wanted to make me
scarred you.
Really think about that.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So what?
So Babadook.
Did you like this episode of Southern Charm?
It was good. I feel like it feels a little tiresome at this point to continue to go over what did or did not happen.
I was feeling for you in this episode because it was like they had just started to move past it, and then of all things, Page 6 reports on it, and so they literally rehash it.
Right.
And they get
the same information.
Yes, and it resets them to 6 episodes before, before this. And yeah, so yeah, you're right. No new information. It's
right.
Like, it just makes them all mad again.
Right.
So I was thinking this is like the worst case scenario for you if you didn't want to think about this storyline anymore.
Right. I'm just like some of them were saying, it's like Olivia still thinks that they had Austin and Taylor had sex or whatever, and it's kind of like at this point it's clear they're not going to admit it, so you either need to move on thinking that they're lying or believe them, because we can't talk about it anymore.
I agree. And it seems like there were some other details where Austin made love to one of Whitney's good friends and also had made love to one of Olivia's other friends. So there was new information for her. And I sort of understand, I guess, why she got hindered by that news. But I guess it's just like, I guess I did want them to move past as a group and start to focus on new things. But then again, I don't know or contrary to that, what would this trip have been about if they weren't talking about that? Like there really is nothing new going on in this group that I don't know. This trip could have been really boring had this not been brought up.
True. Yeah.
Like some people were saying that Whitney said, I have to go work. And he just immediately leaked that to Page 6 so that while they're on a trip, they would have to all fight about this again because the trip was seemingly boring up to a point. And the timing does work out. Why did it come out right when they were on the cast trip altogether?
Yeah. True. It's true. Okay, I just wanted to say at the beginning, it's boring at the beginning. They're just going to everybody's rooms and stuff. But Whitney's Bethany clause is bringing up that Pat used to be married to a relative of Ian Fleming.
Yes, I have heard that story before. So he was talking about how GoldenEye it has like a Jamaica subplot or whatever. I've never seen it, but yeah, he was like, he always talks about how like the martinis that James Bond had, like he knew the recipe because Ian Fleming made those.
And I'm like, you literally have basically no tie to that situation. I'm like, your mom, one of her husbands was the like brother or the cousin of Ian Fleming.
Was one of her husbands, was it before Whitney was born? Or after?
It might have been after, because he talks about that they were friendly and stuff. So I think it was in his
Okay, so one of
lifetime.
His stepdads at some era of his life was the nephew of Ian Fleming?
Something like that.
Okay. I mean, I only because I've heard it multiple times. I didn't think you need to say it again. And also, I think Shep, imagine how many times Shep has heard this.
Right. I know. I was like, you don't need to tell him if I know.
Right.
And then I'm just going to say one quick thing. I know you don't like to talk about people's appearances, but when Madison was walking to the pool, I was literally like, bazinga. And then later Craig said that Paige was like, I want her tits on my body, which would be crazy.
They say she has cannons, right? Did they say something?
And then Olivia's like, I have lemons.
Yeah. I will only comment on appearance. Well, I know it's horrible for me too, but I will say they made a moment of Madison coming to the pool, and almost Taylor. You could tell like Taylor is also like giving Madison the up down. Like they really did focus on Madison. So I'm permitted, I think, to talk about it. It was definitely a huge moment when Madison.
Yeah, she's like otherworldly looking. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say a little turtle cutie DM'd us that Olivia posted about Elvis on her stories.
I just saw it. Where was she? Where she was with all of those
I don't know what that wall
photographs.
was, but
Olivia, please. You have to tell us. I want to know. We could talk exclusively for 30 minutes about just this Elvis history that you have. Because she loves him more than I've seen anyone love him.
It's insane. Yeah, she loves him.
Okay, so what else happened?
This is basically the Page 6 thing drops, and then
right, and then they all have to go to their trip, and Olivia just completely like does not want. Right?
Yeah,
is that,
they play horror music when she sees the article.
Yes, and then she's like, I was on a trip. I didn't. This is the last thing I wanted to think about. Now I have to bring it all up again. Taylor and Madison by the pool, they have their talk, and Madison apologizes for that dinner where she said she saw her naked and said she was acting holier than thou. So that was nice.
Yeah. How did you feel about the way that the buses fell? I feel like I don't understand why it needed to be 2 different trips because essentially they did the same activity.
I also do not know and wanted to ask you first. Say these buses were outside your house now.
Yeah.
One's going to Blue Hole and one's going to Waterfall. Which trip would you have gone on?
I'd go on to the hole because Shep kind of got fucked. He, in my opinion, got the flop bus.
Oh, I agree.
The B-lister bus.
I agree he got the B-listers, but I think his trip, if there was more fun people on it, our primaries, I would have rather done the rope swing.
Okay, so activity-wise, but not group-wise.
I liked those slippery rocks. I think activity-wise, I would have gone on Shep's trip, but you're right. Craig got Olivia, him. No, I'm sorry. He got Taylor.
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
Himself. Madison.
Yeah.
Just those 4.
Yeah.
So he got like the core cast.
Yeah.
Shep got JT, Rod, Olivia, and
Vanita.
Okay.
You couldn't even barely remember her name.
No. That's not a Vanita slander. That's not Vanita slander. I forgot.
I mean, she didn't say shit this episode.
I think it is not on us anymore to vouch for Vanita on the show. It's up to the casting directors to realize that Vanita has nothing to do with this group and does not talk, and none of them are legitimate friends with her. So her scenes don't have any impact.
Yeah.
And it's not our fault, that that's how we feel about Vanita.
Yeah.
She's just not integral to this cast.
No.
So you would go to Blue Hole, but for the company, but activity wise, would you have?
I mean,
just one note. The swim up bar at Craig's Blue Hole was not serving alcohol.
Yeah, they said that, but then didn't. Okay, so the beers were being ordered at the other place.
Shep they had champagne or whatever out for them at wherever their destination was.
Okay.
So they were allowed to drink.
I will say the Austin and Craig backflips and shit were a little extreme for me. I would not be doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
But the ladies weren't doing that, so I could participate. But I did enjoy their whole fertility and egg conversation.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, me too. What were they? They were talking about how chicken eggs are not fertilized, the ones we eat.
Yeah, and then they put Austin on the spot to explain how eggs are made, and then they're talking about Madison's eggs.
Yeah, and I know perfectly, and that's why I don't even feel compelled to talk about it. But I also thought that was funny as well, and great. And then on the bus, they try to also talk about the gigantic elephant in the room, which is that the Page 6 article came out, and Austin goes, I'm going to take a nap right now instead of talking about that.
Totally. But yeah, the article revealed that Taylor also hooked up with a friend of Sudler Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, Austin didn't do that. I made a huge error. I said that Austin made out with a Whitney friend. It was Taylor hooked up with a Whitney friend.
Yeah.
Taylor did.
Yeah.
And Shep goes, does anyone know who that is? He's shocked by the news. And I also like when he sees his quote where it says, right? It says Shep is not bothered at all by this and is actually defending. It's like some inside source.
Yeah.
So listen, he goes, that's
Are they
accurate.
in the room with us?
Yeah. He goes, that's accurate, actually. I am defending Taylor.
Yeah. But then he said it makes him look like a pussy. And Olivia was like, because maybe you are.
Yeah.
And then he narcs out Taylor about the text where she was like, well, maybe I'll go stay with Austin then. And Olivia was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yes. Now, in Olivia's defense, that new detail, I see why that and Page 6 in conjunction made her rethink this.
Yeah.
Because now Taylor is still doing this.
Yeah.
Pitting Shep and Austin against each other, using Austin as jealousy leverage against Shep.
Yeah.
That is
it's
fucked
demented.
up.
Yeah.
Demented?
And then demented. Anyways, there's more to come. JT cannot stand up straight at these falls.
No. Shep rightfully says that JT is water repellent, and he slips and falls in water.
Yeah, and then Shep gets excited because he's like, they filmed the movie Cocktail here, and Olivia gets stoked. So I'm like, that's one of the movies she likes.
She's a film buff, I think. Have you ever seen Cocktail?
Yeah, but like a million years ago.
I've never seen it. He said this is where they make love and she gets pregnant. I was like,
forgot. Is it Elizabeth Shue?
I'm not sure. I've never seen it.
Okay.
That's like a huge deficiency in my Tom Cruise filmography. I've never seen Cocktail.
It's fun.
Okay.
I don't think it's like one of my favorites, but you know.
Oh, I thought it was your favorite movie.
Okay, and then Taylor was being performative when they ordered the fish by the water hole or whatever, and Taylor's like, "Where's the eyeball? I'm gonna eat the eyeball. I'm an adventurous eater." And I'm like, that no one said that it was good. Like, it's not like a delicacy. You just like poked out the eyeball of this weird blue hole fish and ate the eyeball. And she was like, "It was chalky." I was like, "You're trying too hard."
Yeah. Megan said it was giving pick me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then she's like, "I also eat Rocky Mountain oysters."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay."
What is that? Testicles? Yeah. I'm just like, anyways.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Congrats."
Yeah. Do you think is Taylor's entire personality and what she's giving us on the show reflective of how burned she was by Shep? Or do you think if we had Taylor even not centered around Shep and she was just on her own as a full-time cast member, would she be flopping like this just as a person on a show?
I mean, she doesn't have that much going on. Like, has she ever said anything outside of this?
Day chaser.
Great. Thank God.
I'm honestly shocked that there hasn't been Day Chaser in the last 2 episodes.
It's true.
Okay, and then do we want to talk about what's going on at Blue Hole?
Sure.
I think Craig is sort of just saying, you guys need to tell us exactly what happened or say, fuck off if this is the truth and no one else can talk about it anymore. And Austin goes, that's where I'm at. Yeah. I'm at the fuck off stage where we are not talking about this anymore. And Taylor is progressively throughout this episode more and more emotional by this to the point where at dinner she can barely speak. She's like, I have no energy to talk about this. Yeah. It's like the worst day of her life.
Crying. Yeah. But yeah. Craig is like, Taylor, you basically have to choose Austin or Olivia. Like, it's not happening. It's not working.
He is so black and white with his like exes thinking. He's like, people can't be friends with exes. You have to choose. And then can I skip to it? They all go to dinner at Miss T's, which
it looks good.
It did. This is the focal point. It was almost like a little bit of filler. And to answer your question, why the hell did they have to go on 2 separate trips? It doesn't make sense from an entertainment perspective. Right. It is only because they now separate people on groups intentionally so they can have private conversations that can then lead to blow-ups. Yes. There's no natural reason for this group to be split.
Yeah, they were just each... Of course, Olivia and Taylor had to be on separate buses so that they could talk about both sides.
In those scenes, though, they suffered from it. Like, the fact that they were isolated, you lose half of the power of the cast being together. And then the dinner scene was great, but I think you could have had an explosive dinner scene even if they had been together drinking all day.
Well, they also were just so tired, like from drinking and like swimming, that by dinner they were all completely zonked.
They were zonked. They stunk like the blue hole, Taylor said. The fight instantly happens, right? Like at the table.
Can I quickly say that? Did you groan when Olivia was like, "Leva's FaceTiming me"? I'm like, "Not now."
I also thought not now.
I'm like, get out of here! You're not on this trip.
I was hoping that Leva just was, checking in on Olivia's well-being, truthfully, but also I think if you're cynical, you could just be like, Leva needed to be on this trip in the form of her face on the bus talking to Olivia.
She needed like an outsider that has no real stakes in the situation to get Olivia riled up.
Yes.
But I was like, do you really need to be FaceTiming someone right now before dinner?
Yeah, and it made everybody have to like wait for Olivia at the table so that she could have this like FaceTime call on the bus. So that's what made me think it actually maybe just legitimately Leva was calling her, because it seemed out of place. Like they didn't need that.
Yeah. But yeah, Shep brings up the article to Taylor. Is that where it starts?
Yeah. It's so hard because there's so much stuff going on at this table, but Shep says again his advice for Taylor. I mean, Taylor says in this episode, she goes, Shep is my only advocate here. I'm like isolated, and only Shep is the one giving me advice. And Shep goes, these are the 3 things you need to say. I will never do that again. I'm sorry, I did that to you. I am just here for you as a friend. However, you'll have me, and I'll never do this again. And she goes, I've said that. And he goes, well, say it again, Taylor.
Right.
He's like, he's giving his advice, and she goes, I can't, Taylor, I physically can't now. I can't. Which is like, I don't know. I mean, a part of me was like, I think for the show, entertainment-wise, I actually like that reaction because not a lot of people would do that. You don't hear a lot of I can't because a lot of people would just use Shep's advice to go in then and have that scene and pull Olivia away. So it was actually felt more natural that Taylor was just having a visceral reaction to like, I can't have this talk right now. It felt real.
Yeah. And then Olivia is like, saying what Leva told her and was like, JT has some shit to share. And then she's like trying to talk to JT over the table. And she's like, actually, Rod, can you like get the fuck out of here? I want to switch seats with you. And Rod's like, okay.
Right. Yeah, and they have this talk.
He's just like in the way.
And then they show a flashback, which we hadn't seen before, where JT says, I have heard these sleepovers happen very regularly. And they even happened while him and Olivia were seeing each other.
Right.
Like it was a common occurrence. So you can take that as that is more on Taylor's defense because this is just a regular occurrence and she always does this, or was something nefarious happening during those times?
Right.
And it adds more to this. It prolongs the amount of time they were hooking up.
Right. And then Shep does a toast. He, it seems like at first he's trying to be nice. He says, we wish Paige was here. Hopefully we get to spend time with her. And it seems like Craig is already pissed off. Like he's already like, I hate you.
Yeah. You can tell when Craig gets drunker because his hair gets disheveled.
Yeah. Drinking red wine on the island. Interesting choice.
I was very surprised that they all ordered wine.
It was weird.
I would have gotten like, I didn't know why they all chose to go that route.
I mean, I would drink white wine, but red wine when it's hot outside.
Yeah. Shep goes, here's to Paige. I hope we will meet her someday. It's like a fully Paige-focused toast.
Right. And then it's like, so Shep and Taylor are talking, Craig and Olivia are talking. And then it starts to just like bleed out into the full group. Olivia says, Austin doesn't know how to apologize. Yeah. Then he starts getting into it. He's like, you're so hot and cold, which I actually kind of believe him on that front because it sounds like she wants to be friends again and then finds out new shit and then gets pissed off and then hates him again.
Well, in his mind, she's not finding out new shit.
Sure.
In his mind, it's like, we got over this. You're texting me. We're texting about Just Married or Friends with Benefits or whatever those movies that we watched together. And then page 6 happens with no new information. And now you're mad at me again.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of this. I'm exhausted. And she goes, you're exhausted, which is like the worst thing he could have said.
Yeah.
So you're exhausted by this. I just found out that you fucked one of my friends, by the way.
Right.
Which is new information to her.
Right.
He should have taken this opportunity to not be exhausted. I understand potentially why he is exhausted because he doesn't think there's new information, but he could have just full hat in hand again apologized and probably could have remedied this, but he's just like doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. At least he didn't get mad though.
No,
I feel like normally he would get pissed off, but then Rod and JT are the chivalrous guys again who are getting so fired up about this.
Austin goes, I have been completely honest with you about all of this. And Rod goes, completely honest about every aspect? You've been truthful? That's your story? And Austin goes, what does it have to do with you? Right?
Yeah.
And then JT hears this, right?
Yeah.
JT goes, that's, because then Austin says, like, he starts to apologize again to Olivia. And JT goes, that's a hollow apology. It's bullshit.
I was hoping that Austin, if I were Austin, I would be like, well, I'm not going to do that here because this is a hostile environment, but like, let's talk when we get back or tomorrow. And instead he just went, I'm sorry. And it's like, this isn't the environment. And of course she immediately was like, thanks so much, you asshole. Like, I don't want that here. I'm like, if you think that a real apology can happen in this environment, you're mistaken.
You're right. So Austin gets credit for not blowing up and screaming, but also he could have given a real apology, not said he was exhausted by this information coming back up, and had a private apology. But then JT gets up, stands up, starts screaming. He says, "That's
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up." He goes, "Stand up and be a man." He goes, "This has to end." And it's like, And then Austin is laughing, and Vanita is covering herself with napkins, and Shep is looking away. So they made it seem like this is, conflict that we all love, but I think it was embarrassing in the moment because Austin is laughing. And
well, it's also like he keeps bringing up that he would love to date or have sex with Taylor.
Right.
So it's like, what are you talking about?
Oh, right. I forgot that sort of just fully negates all of his moral high ground in this issue.
Right.
Because he would want to.
It's very strange. Like, it is weird how.
I thought it was performative.
Totally.
And Austin, I think Austin saying JT, please, he said, this is weird to me.
It
in his
is.
confessional. And I think JT needs to tone down that he's the good Southern Charm version of these Southern Charm boys that we've seen. I think that narrative, he needs to have more nuance because this is going to get tiring.
Yeah, I would rather him act poorly.
Me too. JT, get
Go
drunk
have some
and
fun.
act horrible.
Yeah. So Taylor's low key crying in the corner the whole time.
Yep.
And Shep is like, "All right, everybody, this is great. Let's go home." And Craig is like, "Shut up, sit down." You're like, I don't know if he's pissed off that he's acting like he's the leader of the table or what, but Craig is already pissed.
Here's why. Craig thought that they were going to get through to each other and have a moment where they can all reconcile, and he thought that Shep was co-opting it by making them all leave. He's like, we're gonna get somewhere here at the table today, which was not true.
No,
and not gonna happen. So then the classic feud between them arises again, where Craig immediately tells him, your ex-girlfriend is crying, shut up and sit down, or whatever.
He says your girlfriend.
Yeah, oh yeah, right, okay. I didn't know if he said that. He says, your girlfriend is crying here. And then Shep goes, what does this have to do with you? Because you've got a long distance relationship with Paige. You never have to have your issues under a microscope. It just sets him off on like the one thing he wants to say.
Yeah. He's like, you get off scot-free because your girlfriend lives in New York and your relationship isn't under a microscope. He's like belligerent. Craig's drunk. Then this is when he says like, maybe like that's because I don't cheat, so it doesn't matter if my relationship's under a microscope. Like that's why I quote get away with things.
Craig says you're a drunken, shitty boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then and then Shep takes it low as hell. I don't really know what compelled him. I think he's saying that Craig's relationship with Paige is not on camera for the most part. So like Craig doesn't have to have the scrutiny of the world on their relationship.
Yeah, it's giving like Housewives, like you don't share your life.
Yeah, it was Shep's version of that. But then he takes it way lower after, talking shit about the relationship. He says possibly that Paige cheated on Craig. And he says, let's talk about that. Yeah. Which
there is no there. So it's kind of like, okay, whatever. And then Craig, when he walks away, he goes, what a nut.
Yeah. What a nut. I like that any fight that happens that breaks out among the Southern Charm cast, if even someone looks at Shep or Craig, or if they look at each other, they will fight with each other. Yeah. If there's a fight happening, they're always so quick to be mad at each other. Yeah. And that's been a constant all throughout Southern Charm.
I will say, I know that we're always saying how they're pushing the narrative that there's trouble in paradise so much with Craig and Paige, and it's like boring and like they're probably fine, but whatever. But like the longer it goes on, the more I am like, since I'm tired of talking about it, I'm like, maybe there is something there. Like, I mean, I've always said like, I don't think she wants to marry him. I think if she wanted to, she would. So I'm just saying, I'm keeping it on my back burner that I don't believe that they will take it all the way.
Oh, okay. Wow. You've never said that before. I don't think to me.
I feel like back in like Summer House days, I was saying that when he was like kept pestering her about getting married. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like more recently he finally chilled about it and was like, okay, fine, we can like curb that conversation for now, except that the show keeps bringing it up. Yes. But like originally when like, remember she like cried at the pool party because she was like, I don't want to leave New York. Yes. I don't know. Part of me is just like, I mean, how old is she again? I always 30? Go over this. Like, she's pretty young, I think.
Just not even 30 or
Did she just turn 30 at BravoCon?
People will get so mad if I got her age wrong. I know she's just young as hell and, like, I think just turning 30 or in that range. And he is what? He's 35. Yeah. But he he was on the fast track to marriage and children in the Naomi days. He was like almost ready to get engaged then. So he's already so delayed from what he originally wanted. But I'm counter to you, and I don't agree with you respectfully.
Yeah.
I think Paige and Craig have a beautiful relationship that is only being exploited by production to make it seem worse for us to create conflict. I think they're a wonderful couple, and I think they will get married and have children.
Okay.
So
I hope so.
Can we take a Kim Zolciak bet?
$100,000.
A respectful turtle time wager. Can we do $1?
What about our Starbucks order?
Okay.
If they either get married or break up in the next year.
No, let's keep it ongoing.
Oh.
You want it in a year?
Forever?
Yeah, until they get married or break up. Because in 1 year, you're going to probably win. You can't win from just based off. No, it has to.
Okay, whichever happens first.
Whichever happens first.
Okay.
Well, the first turtle time wager. Okay. I think we kind of ripped through.
Yeah, we did.
That Southern Charm, it only had, a significant moment at the end. The rest was sort of just rehash.
Yes.
So now, non-rehash, can we talk about Salt Lake City?
Yes.
Which was called, lazily as hell, Bermuda Blues. And I forgot to...
Bermuda Birthday Blues.
Oh, sorry.
Triple B.
Bermuda Birthday Blues. They are really heightening that everything is Bermudian.
Right.
But also the last week's episode was called Hot Tub Blues. Bermuda... It was called Bermuda Views and Hot Tub Blues.
It was?
Yes. I was like, I was going to send it to you. I was like, they said blues again.
So lazy. They're like, the episode's due. What do we call it?
Yeah.
It's like us after we record our episodes. We're like, fuck, what do we call it?
I'm already thinking what the hell we're going to call this one. We have no energy after.
We're like, Olivia loves Elvis.
If we name it that, you'll know that we had no energy after this. So I want to say up front, I just want to preempt our conversation. I thought this Salt Lake City episode was awesome.
It was good.
I loved it personally.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fun. I thought it had weird, surreal moments. I thought it had good actual conflict. I thought the Bermuda trip was fun. I thought it had examples of how games can actually be fun.
Yeah.
It subverted a lot of tropes for me. And also Monica, again, is just so reinforced. I mean, she had a couple blips where we'll talk about, but Monica is just like a shining star this season. It's like,
true.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can I say a non sequitur really quick before we get in?
Of course you can. And then remind me that I have one point just about the cast generally, but you go ahead.
I know we're not like fully recapping it or whatever, but I was watching Potomac the other day in general, and they played a game about like sex and like who
prompted it? Can I guess? Giselle or Ashley?
It might have been, who was it? Was it Ashley? It was who here swallows.
Who said that? There's no nuance to that. They're just like.
It was like, I forget how it came up, and then.
I mean, that's honestly how ham-fisted Monica's sex talk happened in this episode.
Well, Robin shot her hand up, by the way.
Did she swallows?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just quickly take a pause? I know we didn't talk about this, but we're just about to start Salt Lake City. But can I have you're caught up on Potomac?
Yeah.
I was gonna catch up.
Yeah.
Can I just have just because I think it's beneficial, at least for me. Can I have your 2 minutes? Is the season getting better?
So they're on a cash trip on the last episode, and I guess probably next week to Austin.
So they're on their local trip.
A funny place for this group to go.
I like Austin. Do you?
Yeah, I only went for like 2 days, and it felt very like gentrification washed while I was there. I felt like I was in like Silver Lake.
Oh.
There was like a Warby Parker and like a Starbucks and like a Yeti store. It just all felt kind of ordinary.
So it had all three of my favorite stores within walking distance? No,
there
okay. We don't have to talk about Austin. Okay.
Anyways, but so they keep getting into Robin and Juan stuff. And the main detail that made me laugh, like her denial that I had to share, was they all keep being like, did you read his text with that woman or not?
I have that question.
And she goes, one thing that's crazy about Juan is he loves to clean out his phone.
Whoa, just one wacky thing about my husband.
He's like weird, and so he deleted them.
So what was the reaction to that?
People were basically like, it was like The Office, like looking into the camera, like everyone was like, dear God.
I think I have to say, not knowing the context, Robin just doesn't care. Right?
It's like pathetic though.
It's like he has got like, this is what I give you, Robin. This is what our relationship consists of. If you do one thing, I'm walking away immediately. Yeah. It's over. So she's walking on eggshells with him completely. Right. He's always on the cusp of leaving or quitting the show or whatever.
Yeah. It's sad. But that just like really made me laugh because she was like, yeah, it's weird. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I understand why they're focusing on that because it is one of the biggest things that's ever happened in Potomac history.
Yeah.
But what I watched, the 4 episodes, I was like, this is boring as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, now the new drama is the new woman. I'm forgetting her name, but her and Wendy are feuding about that curse that potentially her mom put on. And there was a funny moment when Wendy is super downplaying her knowing this woman. And it turns out that their friend in common was like at Wendy's baby naming or something, like she basically like got called out for lying.
So Wendy did actually know the new cast member more than she let on?
I think so. And then she goes, it's implied that Wendy's mom put like a curse on this woman because they're from the same tribe or something.
Yeah.
And then Wendy's like, that's not true. Like my mom would never do that. And then they were talking about how, I guess when Mia, is that her name? I almost want to say Maya. Mia.
Yeah.
When she first started, that Wendy's mom talked a ton of shit about her, and then she was like, "It wasn't a curse," and she reads what her mom said at that time.
I curse upon thee.
It was literally like with glorious vengeance, and everyone was like, "Why did you remind us that she said that? Like that does not help your case." Like it was literally about like fire and brimstone and shit.
That Wendy's relatives are so protective of Wendy on the show. Yeah. Even though I'm not a huge Wendy fan. No. I like her fine.
She's a lot.
I don't think that she's like, I feel like she has vaulted herself to like top 3 cast member on Potomac when I don't feel like I get any entertainment from her at all. And it sounds like her family is trying to make anyone who would even come close to Whitney's sacred status on the show, that would even topple her for 1 second, will curse you to oblivion if you touch anything about Wendy, which is not good. You don't want your family rallying for you behind the scenes. You want to take on your own battles on that show, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also forgot about that Candace's mom is a bit of a Mama Joyce.
Yeah, she is.
Which is always upsetting.
A little better, if I remember correctly, but dismissive of Chris.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think Mama Joyce has to take the cake for the worst.
The worst.
The worst Bravo mother.
But yeah, I'll keep watching, and if anything happens, I'll bring it up. But those were the moments that made me laugh.
All right, I just didn't want to leave our Potomac-starved little turtle cuties. I just hope that it gets better. I feel like they are in the doldrums on that show. Yeah. Just in general. There's something about the dynamic on that show that is getting stale, even despite what Robin brings with her relationship with Juan. It's not enough.
Yeah.
I think both Wendy and Mia were misfires casting-wise, Mia especially, and I don't see a lot of promise in the new cast member, so it's hard to deal with that many duds.
Yeah. If you guys ever are watching and you're like, holy shit, that was amazing, you guys should talk about it. Hit us up.
And we will, knowing us, some timing of a release won't work, and we will probably have to catch up on Potomac and talk about it at length. But I'm glad that you caught me up, just, like that for 5 minutes. Okay.
You wanted to talk about the cast.
Oh, I was just saying, officially, I think I can say that this entire cast with no changes just needs to come back next season. I want Angie back. Yeah. I'm not at all on the side of Angie's a dud. I like Angie now. I feel like she is, I've already said it, she did some calculated, contrived, shitty moves as a first-time cast member, but when she lets her guard down and doesn't try to fake shit for the camera, I like her energy. Yeah. She seems legitimately sweet with people. It seems like Lisa loves Angie, and Heather is warming up to Angie. Yeah. I think they like her dynamic in the group, and she's a good counter to Monica, where Monica is like the more propulsive one, but Angie's more taking a back seat, and I wish she could just resign herself to being a fun support character, right? Cast member. Yeah. But
I like her.
I mean, I don't know. I just think this cast, and also we know from the fallout with Monica that it's going to be such a good season having this divided cast.
Yeah, for
Anyway,
sure.
it's all I can say is just that Salt Lake City has been so good, and I thought this episode was just another great episode. Like,
Yeah.
This cast to me is just so dynamic and fun, and there's so much conflict there, natural conflict.
Yeah, it has been good. I liked how the beginning of this episode is just them setting up for Monica's birthday.
Yes.
Whitney gives her a gift of a tank top that says salty AF.
Yep. She's turning 39.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so they're talking outside about the dinner the night before, about the shut the fuck up comment. Meredith says she doesn't believe in talking like that. And then they flash back to her saying shit just like that.
Yeah.
And then Whitney comes out and they're like, we're talking about you and last night and what you said. And she goes, sorry for speaking to you like that. I didn't mean to lose my temper, whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, Whitney immediately apologizes, full apology with no, hindering the full apology. And then
Heather's like, don't do it again. And she was like, okay. And then they hug. And I was like, great.
Yeah. I mean, I felt Heather's power in that moment.
I know, it was scary.
Don't do that again.
Yeah. Which I feel like I thought that was going to turn into another fight of her being like, don't tell me what to do or something. But she was like, okay.
No, Whitney just, I think, realizes this is not a battle she wants with Heather and just apologizes fully.
Although it doesn't feel resolved. So I'm sure it'll blow up like 20 more times. But
yes.
And then they plant the seeds of Monica having issues again with her mom. She's emotional about her birthday, saying this trip is amazing.
Yes, and legitimately, I thought touching. She was like, I've never had a birthday like this. She gets to be queen for a day.
Yeah.
And this moment, it's almost like you can watch the scene and be like, oh, a happy ending. Monica's being celebrated with this cast. Like, this is so great. And then we
Right.
know the future of this, where she is going to have horrible riffs with almost everyone.
Right.
But in this moment, they're like celebrating her. And it's really sweet. I thought.
They show a clip, an unseen clip of, I guess, when her and her mom were set to do therapy. Her mom just didn't go, even though it was her idea. And I thought, she says to the therapist, she's like, she didn't even show up. I didn't even want to fucking come to this. And I'm like, the therapist is like, well,
okay,
sorry.
What is your read on why Linda did not go to therapy?
I don't know. She seems insane. It also sounded like she originally was planning to crash this trip.
Yes. So yeah, and I have further questions about Linda in this episode because I don't want to spoil it and step on it. But Linda does other things potentially. But so you think that Linda just bowed out potentially because she didn't want just to do therapy with her daughter? Because I was thinking it was so clearly a good scene, and I thought that's why Linda was wanted to do it, because she was like, therapy scenes with this mother-daughter dynamic, that's gonna hit hard for the audience. So I couldn't believe she bailed.
Maybe Monica threatened to bring up certain things.
Yes, maybe once she really got to the moment where this was going to be on camera, she knew Monica was going to have gloves off and it would be too much.
Right. She would have to do another like notes app or like a video, hostage video.
Heather goes, we've got a traditional Bermudian breakfast. It's quiche and potatoes. And everybody goes, oh my God. Then Monica says, I think, if I'm not skipping anything, Monica says, I want to go on jet skis for my birthday. Right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That is, I mean,
always fun.
I love going on jet skis. So I was excited to see that. I think that's a good birthday wish. And you think that, everything is just going to be fun for a while.
Not for long.
No.
It pretty quickly gets into Monica and Lisa. Monica tells Lisa about the Greek mafia thing.
Yes.
They keep doing a comedic thing where they cut to Angie on the flamingo float, basically implying like she's the Dawn. It says Angie, quote, the Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the accusation is so obviously ridiculous that they're not even trying to treat this like this could be a potential storyline. Yeah. Because they know that the audience will not even grant that for a second, that Angie is in the Greek mafia. Right. It's all a joke. Monica's, I was going to say confidence, but that's not a word. Her endearing herself to Lisa this episode was interesting because they had just resolved their issues, last episode? Right. And then she wants Lisa to go on this trip because she says, I'm going to meet my Bermuda family here.
Oh,
Lisa, will you be the one to go with me?
Oh,
and also, I want to share with you a secret that Meredith, told me that there's these DMs going around.
Yeah.
And Lisa goes, that is exactly something that Meredith has done, right, in the past.
Yeah, she's immediately like, she wants you to do her bidding. Like, she is like blinded by rage that this could be happening again.
So it's almost a full allegiance switch. The minute that Lisa and her, rallied together, it's maybe it's been 2 episodes of this. Now it's like, I'm going to give you a horrible thing that Meredith did that you already have prior knowledge of, and it's going to make you hate Meredith. And also, she knows that that's going to get back to Meredith that she told Lisa. So it's like she doesn't need the Meredith alliance anymore.
Right.
Now she wants to be on the Heather-Lisa side.
Right. Yeah. And then they're on their way to the jet skis thing, and Monica and Heather get into it because they're talking about sex or whatever, or her daughter. And then Monica goes, "Has she had sex?" about Heather's daughter, and then she gets pissed off and is like, "I'm not going to talk about that."
Yeah, so I want to ask you about that. So Monica, I thought, maybe I'm naive. I thought it was sort of an innocent question, if not provocative, just slightly. Is she having sex?
Right.
And then Heather's reaction did, I think, make it seem like we don't talk about that. Like I would never disrespect my daughter like that. Did you think Monica had a genuine innocence when she asked that question, or do you think she wanted to add conflict or make something scandalous happen?
I don't know. I mean, because I feel like Heather does push those boundaries when she talks about her daughters. Like, she's obsessed with, like, she's like, I want my daughter to be, skanking it up, like on an island, like having fun.
Good time,
like,
girl.
Yeah, like she has said that before, but I understand the difference between like literally revealing details about her sex life.
And I do too. If Heather would have revealed that, I would have thought that was even more shocking. I understand why Heather said, I'm not talking about this on camera, but I do want to give Monica just a little bit of validation that I do think she didn't mean it. Like she
thought the door was open.
Yes, and she didn't think it was as scandalous potentially as when she asked it.
She was like, "Girl, are you a bad Mormon or what?"
Yes, she says that. And then also, I didn't really actually know. Like, I love Heather, but I'm still learning new things about her. I didn't realize that sex sort of is off the table in this way because it comes up again at the dinner.
I know.
Heather refuses to say anything about sex.
She was like prude in response to Monica. Like, she's like, I'm the one that's like that.
I get
something
vulgar sometimes, but she goes, I don't want to answer Monica's question because I've heard how she talks about sex. And then it cuts to Monica going, I fucked my brother-in-law for 18 months.
Right.
But I did think, I was like, this is a new facet of Heather that I did not know. That she, because
it felt like she just didn't want to satisfy Monica. Like,
I think so too.
Yeah.
It was almost like, this is my place to ask that kind of stuff. Because I can remember instances of Heather being provocative like that, sexually, and asking questions like that.
No, I felt like at the dinner conversation, she was just pissed off and wanted to be difficult.
And she did have, she was like that's just not something I talk about. But it's like, it's not that horrible for you to tell when the last time you made, had sex
or like
with
make
someone.
a joke that you haven't gotten laid in a long time. Like, it's not that serious.
Or anything. Yeah, she really did want to add kind of more stigma to these sex questions on Monica. So it made Monica even more validated to be kind of offended. Yeah. Don't you think?
It was weird. I didn't understand that.
But what I like is that I like legitimate I like legitimate things like that where you don't really know where to fall on. Because no one was absolutely in the wrong there. I thought Monica asked a legitimate sort of question, provocative though, and then Heather was like legitimately offended and didn't want to answer it. Right.
But she wasn't offended by the marry, fuck, kill earlier.
No, she wasn't. So you want to talk about when they get to the jet ski?
Yeah. My first question is, are you supposed to be feeding fish bread? Because I don't like that.
I thought about that. I think it's the same policy as birds, where you don't want them to group all in an unnatural environment because they come to expect that that's the bread place, and maybe it messes up the ecosystem where the fish.
Like, in what world do fish eat bread?
Oh, they love bread. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. You're right.
Like, it seems bad.
I just think we don't think we should feed bread to fish, and I think that just was jarring. I don't think you should. I like that shipwreck though when they were.
That was cool from 1896.
Yeah, but is it before the jet skis that Monica gets the text messages?
After.
Oh, it is. Oh,
but,
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
they like get back on the bus, and she gets a text and immediately bursts into tears and runs off into that what I assume to be stinky little bathroom.
It looked, I thought the editors were good. Did they put the green stink lines coming out from the bottom of it and through the door? But I thought her reaction to this, and I don't mean this, offensively, but her reaction to this, I was like, what the hell happened? I didn't know if this was like the lawsuit thing was going to come up. I was like, I assumed. I was prepared for death.
Right.
I was prepared for, I just got a call that someone died.
Right.
And when it was this, and I'll say what it was, she finds out that her family in Bermuda does not want to meet with her. She hasn't been with them since she was 9 years old. And they told her via text, and I assume production told her via text, that the family does not want to meet. And I thought she took a very, very large leap, like one of the biggest leaps in the world, to say, I suspect my mom was involved, because she has no proof that she was. And I don't really know what Linda could have said to that Bermudian family to make them say, let's not film. Yeah. I thought more this could have been a production related thing. Like where production tried to make this thing happen and said, I'm sorry, your family does not want to film. Why all of a sudden they haven't seen this person in 30 years and they have to be on a reality show? Not everyone would react to that well. Yeah. So I thought Monica, made a huge leap that Linda did this. And then her reaction was as if we have to take it as a fact that Linda did this. Did you have any of that, or do you think Linda did?
But yeah, it is a question of like, what could she have revealed?
No, right. It's like just so you know, Monica is like going to talk shit about you right after you have your scenes.
She said you're a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, or the production is like, they'll edit you in a horrible light or whatever. But I just think that we had to take for granted that Monica said her mom did this, when in reality, there's no evidence of that. Right. And it could have been, you always have to think about production in these instances, and there could have been a lot of factors that made them not want to meet with her. And so but when she explains why she calls it a nervous breakdown. So I'm not like overstating what she said she had. She has she can't breathe. Yeah. Lisa goes to comfort her in there. And Lisa, her reaction, Monica's over-heightened reaction and very emotional reaction makes Lisa start to cry immediately. Did you hear her audio in the bathroom? She almost starts to cry in reaction to how upset Monica is. Right. And then Monica clarifies that this is about how she has no family. And she feels like her mother has abandoned her. Now when she tries to have a new Bermudian family that she hasn't seen in forever, her mom stopped her from having that, and she just feels isolated. So once I got more context, I understand, but I still think it was a leap to suggest that it was Linda, because she doesn't know that.
Yeah. No one really questions her, though. They all just say, like, I'm so sorry that she did that to you.
But it's because, like, I think that production and everyone want us to assume that Linda did that, but they didn't really... They didn't sell it for me. Okay. But then I think all of the cast members just take her word for it. They're like, yeah, it sounds like something that your mom would do.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. No, I would love more info on that. Yeah. She is so frazzled coming from the bathroom that she loses a shoe. She said, I'm shoeless.
She went shoeless in the bathroom.
Gross. And then they go to the beach or whatever, and they have some Bermudian fish sandwiches.
Yeah, Lisa says, I love this Bermudian fish sandwich. She goes, I'm so glad we have these Bermudian fish sandwich. And then they decide, can I say it?
Yes.
They decide to play, Lisa decides, which she goes, you guys know I don't like games. or I don't play games often, but I have a game that I have to play that I think will be fun for me. Let's play Fuck, Marry, Kill with our husbands and ex-husbands, right?
Yeah. I was like, nothing could go wrong here. It actually isn't that bad.
No, nothing did, because Monica does hers first, and she goes, I would kill Sean, Angie's husband. I would fuck Seth, and I would marry Justin. And Angie goes, am I allowed to ask any follow-up questions about why she would kill my husband? And Monica goes, no, let's just breeze past it. So everyone decides that they're not going to take anything more out of anyone's answers. They're not going to try to pry. Just let these answers exist. And I thought that was the best case scenario for a fun fuck, marry, kill. And I love that most of them wanted to kill Seth. Yeah. I thought, right? And then when Lisa Lisa doesn't want to say who she would fuck, because she loves John so much.
Yeah.
And they go, come on, Lisa, please say you fuck. What if it was a celebrity? And she goes, Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Did you like
Heather's like, she had that answer ready to go.
Yeah. And then
I would
Heather
love to see that.
Heather gives a joke answer. She goes, I would marry Seth, fuck Seth, and kill Seth.
Yeah. They all left. It was
it was
fun.
Good.
Did you notice that Angie's Versace bikini top was the same print as Lisa's Versace outfit?
Yes, I thought that they had done a Sound of Music curtains thing where they had a big sheet of Versace fabric and cut it together and worn it because they didn't even mention it.
I know. I'm like, they should have, I don't know, made a note of that.
Yeah, maybe they must have cut it out or something. Like they're tired of those moments or whatever.
Yeah, but this is where Lisa reveals the whole mafia storyline to Angie. And I love Angie's like wearing those like giant sunglasses, and she's like, if she wants to see gangster, I'll show her gangster. And then like the first thing she says after saying that she's gangster is that Meredith is a phony fucking baloney fraud. I'm like, I'm scared.
I like you with Taylor and Austin on Southern Charm. I am like sort of over Meredith and Angie. I just want this to end. It's been too long for something that I don't think had a lot of power initially.
Yeah.
This isn't the conflict I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But I guess then I got more enticed by it because Lisa now is almost definitively saying that this is something that Meredith does constantly.
Right.
Fakes DMs.
Do you believe that?
I do.
Okay.
And I'll say why.
Okay.
I'll say why. But then I wanted to say something that I only noticed because I watched this maybe 3 times, that once Lisa, I almost call her Lindsay, Lisa tees up Angie with what Meredith said, they go back to sit down, but then it cuts and it instantly shows them cut to home. And I think the reason they did that is because if Angie didn't immediately bring it up to Meredith, it doesn't make any sense, because you'd be like, Angie just found out that Meredith accused her of being in the Greek mafia, but she didn't have that conversation with her at the beach.
Yeah.
So they had to immedially cut, because it's like there's no justification for why Angie waited to say this news.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a little bit of like an editing mishap.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think I noticed that, and I was just like, I guess she didn't want to bring it up right now.
But then if you saw those scenes where Angie's just like, I'm waiting to talk about this for dinner, you'd be like, oh, this is fake as shit.
Right.
Because Angie's not talking about something that actually matters.
Right. What do you think about Whitney finally reading Heather's book?
Thank you for asking me, and thank you for bringing it up. I loved it. Whitney could not do something more to my interests than being good to Heather and finally reading her book. But then I have to say, there's a horrible black cloud surrounding it, because she reads it and hates what Heather wrote. So no one told Whitney the selections from Bad Mormon that she should know about. She never heard anything from this.
Yeah, that's next week, right? She gets pissed off.
I'm just saying I just wanted to give Whitney credit for reading it. I like that she was like on the beach and it was like she was like 3/4 of the way done. I thought that was great. Yeah. But I hate that then she's going to use what's in the book to try to take Heather down.
What did she say? She said she usually reads thrillers, spirituality books, and what was the other thing? She was like, her book is like all 3 combined.
She reads James Patterson, Alex Cross, Jack Reacher.
Nice.
And then she said, I think Bad Mormon is a combo of all 3 of those.
That's a great endorsement.
I know. I think so. I really am going to read Bad Mormon.
Yeah.
I've been so busy, but I think Bad Mormon actually sounds awesome.
Bad Mormon Book Club.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Okay.
Are we getting into pirate time?
Yeah, I don't think much else happens.
We really got to the meat of what ultimately is going to create the conflict at the pirate dinner. So let's just, in the interest of time.
Everyone dresses like a pirate. Lisa and Meredith half-ass their costumes as usual.
Now, this is a big question for you. Lisa has now made it a part of her identity that she doesn't dress up. For me, I thought that Lisa didn't want to put on makeup because she didn't want her she liked to be in control of her appearance, like her physical appearance. I thought that was what she was concerned about when they went in Palm Springs. Now she's trying to make it her identity that she doesn't dress up in costumes, but I'm like, why? No one. Aren't costumes fun? Like, you don't dress up for Halloween.
Yeah, she also was mad about the pioneer costume, and
but she like sort of did that, right? I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I don't know if Lisa needs to make it like I don't dress up for anything anymore, because that's not what that Palm Springs thing was about. I don't think. I think she wanted to justify why she acted that way in Palm Springs by saying, this is my new persona. I don't dress up.
I mean, I feel like she's like, I'm a fashionista. Like, I need to wear my fashion.
Meredith is almost worse for how half-assed it is. I like give Lisa actually more credit for just wearing a big pink outfit that has nothing to do with pirate than Meredith.
Like half in, half out.
And then the opposite. Monica comes down, and I'm like, this is why Monica is so great. She doesn't give a shit about dressing up full pirate.
She did the full Johnny Depp facial hair.
Yes, like she doesn't care. Like, it's the opposite of Lisa. She wants to dress up full pirate regalia.
Yeah.
And Angie, I'll give Angie credit. Angie also did it, and Heather.
Yeah.
They all
I know.
did.
As they all came out, I was like, wow, they really came to play.
Yeah.
Whitney though wore stilettos, and their dinner ended up being in like a literal cave that had like mats on the ground that had a million little holes in them. And just with every step, her heel was going in the holes. And I was like, I'm concerned for your safety.
I was concerned too. I want to say before I forget about Meredith. Meredith, her loyalty is to Mary, which I've always thought is a weird alliance. And that friendship I know is not real. It's just like convenience or whatever. Meredith to me definitely seems like she doesn't have any actual friends on this cast. Because Whitney doesn't like Meredith, and Meredith doesn't really like Whitney. Heather and Meredith are okay, but I don't think they're close. Mm-hmm. She lost Lisa. Now Lisa, I think, hates Meredith. Mm-hmm. And then she's fighting with Angie.
Yeah.
She's okay with Monica. I just think that like she seems so withdrawn from this group.
No one would give her the bathtub.
And I don't know if she enjoys the show.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I'm kind of always like, wait, who's she fighting with? What's her deal? Like,
do you think this cast would? I'm fine with Meredith. I think her odd energy is welcome. Mm-hmm. But if Meredith, for some reason, decided that she didn't want to do the show anymore, do you think Salt Lake City would suffer a grievous loss?
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I think of her, she's obviously the core four.
Yeah.
But I think she's the weakest of the core four. I would actually like Whitney's behavior, because Whitney messes stuff up. Whitney doesn't care. Like, she gets in the middle.
Yeah.
She has legitimate conflict with Heather that I think is always going to be good. Meredith, to me, I think I could take or leave her energy that she brings to the show, even though I'm fine if she stays.
Yeah. She was just on Watch What Happens, and I feel like Andy really enjoys her.
Oh, okay.
So...
yeah, she brings an X factor that not a lot of people have.
Yeah, she's just so low energy.
She's very low energy, and I can't tell. I know she enjoys being on this show. I know she loves her platform, but in the day-to-day, I don't think she likes it. And she's also like doing what Lisa Vanderpump did. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes, she's trying to throw stones and hide her hand.
Yeah. The Puppet Master.
Okay, that was my Meredith. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that and see where you lied. With
so that. They're at the cave dinner, and
oh, actually, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Can I just take one quick break? A certified extra turtle piss break. Do you mind?
Sure.
I'm sorry. We'll pick up right where we left off. I am sorry about that. I never normally have to take a huge piss twice, but we did it, and thank you for accommodating that, Amy.
Of course.
I didn't want to use the pad and diaper under me, because we'd already had one change this episode.
Of course.
So we're at Pirate
cave dinner.
No, sorry, but I thought that cave dinner, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
It is cool.
Everything about it I loved. I loved how the tables were on water, on balancing floating little decks.
Right.
The cave looked beautiful, and it reminded me of the cave that the Vanderpump Rules cast ate in at Sheena's.
Mexico. Yeah.
I really want to have a cave dinner someday.
I was wondering like where the kitchen was and how that works.
I wondered that too. I think it's on a little floating ship that comes to your table.
It's just like a hot pan or whatever it's called, like that you have in a dorm room.
But a dream of mine, I wrote this down, 2024, I hope that I get to go to a cave dinner with a dark and stormy.
Nice.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah. What is in a dark and stormy?
Rum. This is like, I guess it's a traditional Bermudian cocktail. No, I think it's what Pirates had, but I'll look it up. But it's like it's a rum based cocktail.
Okay.
And they've been really touting it throughout this trip.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, like immediately at this dinner, Monica's like, "When's the last time everybody had sex?"
Yes. Now, I loved the first game, Fuck, Marry, Kill with exes. Monica, I don't think she gave this the proper lead up to get to this point. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she goes, and she also started it with a Barb saying, because I got sex shamed earlier, when was the last time everyone had sex? It's like, wait, so you want to double down and make things worse?
Yeah. And it's also like, everyone's married. That's not like a fun game, and everyone's lying anyways. Every single person was like, literally the minute before I left to get on the plane, we all had sex.
Meredith goes, well, I fucked in the car on the way. Whitney goes, yeah, Justin railed me in the back right before, we had sex in the airport bathroom right before we got in the thing.
Yeah.
Lisa goes, yeah, John and I had sex,
like,
let's say on the bed.
In the plane. We bought him a ticket and we fucked before I sat down, and then he left.
Angie goes, yeah, I was packing and we fucked on top of my suitcase. It's just like, why can't you guys not say 1 week? I thought about you the entire time. Would it be so bad if someone said it's been 6 days?
Yeah, Meredith's like, well, Seth was out of town, so actually right before he left. Like the minute before he left.
No, she even said, she goes, well, Seth's been gone a day and a half, so half a day before he left. She's like, so it's been 2 days.
I'm like, I'm sorry, can we be real? When you have a trip and you have a suitcase out and you're like, fuck, I need to pack, where's my passport? I'm not having sex.
No, can we isolate this clip and remember 2 hours and 4 minutes? I think you and I have said it enough. Cast members in the Bravo universe, you can say if there's been a drought in your sex, not a long drought. It doesn't have to be like Tamra saying it's been 6 months.
Yeah.
You can say if it's been a week since you've had sex with someone.
Angie does not have sex with her husband. Be fucking for real.
And that was part of her storyline. But then she was like, no, we had a wonderful
Their daughter sleeps in their bed.
No, we kicked the dog out with the pink ponytails and we had sex right before we left. It's like, guys, you can just say it's been 2 weeks.
Right.
Have we ever heard someone say it's been 2 weeks?
No, which is why it's so funny that Heather got so butthurt, because she was like, this isn't a fair game because you guys all have partners, so it's not fair that then I have to answer too. And it's like, they're all fucking lying.
They're lying. And also, if you would have said, I haven't made love in a while, or it was a month ago, I really don't see what the audience or what you're sharing that is too much for us to know. Like, that's really not out of the wheelhouse of conversations that are had on these shows.
Right. And then I think Monica rightfully was like, what do you mean I'm in a couple? I'm like in a savage divorce.
Heather goes, I'm the only single one here. And then Monica goes, what are you talking about? I'm in a divorce and I can have sex with anybody I want at any time. I'm as single as it gets. Yeah. I felt like Heather forgot.
Right.
Or misread that, or wanted to make an excuse for why she's not saying it. But when she did bring up the sex thing, they all were uncomfortable. And I realized, is sex talk sort of missing in this group? Because I guess it's such a staple of every other show that I was like, oh, wait, is that something that's absent in this franchise?
Right. Yeah, because that's why when I was watching Potomac, they kept bringing it up there. And I always wonder how I would respond in these situations, especially when it gets disgusting. Like,
I would be honest.
Who swallows and who? I think at one point Ashley's like, who's licked a booty hole, and it's like, God.
I would probably make a joke answer to when I swallowed last, but there is a splitting in the middle, or whatever that phrase is. You can find a zone that you feel comfortable with in those situations, and I felt like Heather wanted moral. What's that?
Sure.
She wanted her monocle was about to fall out of her eyes.
Right, which isn't true to her character. Like, a Heather Dubrow, it's like, she's not going to talk about that.
You hit it on the head. You something about how Monica asked. She didn't want to have anything to do with Monica's line of questioning in this. And also, you have to say that Monica set it up because I felt sex shamed earlier.
Right.
So Heather was already pissed by that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are certain women that are like, I don't talk like that, but Heather's not one of them.
No, I didn't know this about Heather, so I think that means that it was sort of out of her character. I think Whitney, though, I just want to say one editor's note. I think they should have done a thought bubble for the first time where Whitney looked up to the sky to think of when she last had sex, and it should have been a thought bubble with her having the paint sex with Justin up in her thought bubble, thinking when the last time was, just to bring that back.
Yes. I mean, that's always on my mind.
Because I was like, the reason why I thought of that is because, is this franchise devoid of sex? No. It had one of the most sexually explicit things I've ever seen.
Whitney is the one, yeah.
Oh, and then Whitney also does say, I'll go first.
Right.
Like, she does want to be more, sex positive out of this group.
Which, her marriage is also in peril. So I'm like, I don't believe that you guys are fucking all the time. But anyways.
Anyways.
So then it gets into Angie versus Meredith.
Well, Angie goes, let me take the focus off you all. I am now going to talk about what I'm aggrieved by.
Yeah.
And she goes, Meredith. And then you see Meredith wearing her pirate hat, and she just is about to take a drink, and she's smiling because she just knows what's coming for her. And then Angie goes, which I've never seen this before a fight. She goes, I'm going to take a drink because I'm just going to wet my whistle for this. And they take a full pause while she drinks to get her throat ready.
Yeah. And she's, explains it. And then Meredith just keeps saying, I have not made these claims.
Yeah. It's like she is fully denying this in every way. And then Lisa decides to take up for Angie and really bring it to Meredith. And this was shocking to me because I had been wondering why Lisa and Meredith can't actually reconcile, because this season started with them in a better place. I think Lisa, now this triggered her because there was that FCC violation or whatever that someone dug up, that everyone on the cast believes that Meredith did that. Mm-hmm. So now Lisa's like, this is what you do. And I have to believe that when all cast members agree, they must know way more than we know. And so I think Meredith has a reputation for doing this among this cast.
Yeah.
And Lisa is pissed. She goes, can you just say what you're going to dig about me and my family now so I don't have to deal with it? Just get it all out now. And so it sounds like Meredith, this is something she does.
Right. It's giving Radar Online.
It's
Lisa
giving
Vanderpump.
Lisa Vanderpump, but a worse version of Lisa.
Yeah.
And also, we know that conversation that Meredith teed up Monica to have that DM conversation, because there's no way Monica would lie that egregiously, saying that one of the participants in this did all of these actions and then just like that not be true. I have to believe Meredith was a part of this. And then the way Lisa reacted, I'm like, oh, this is going on a lot. And Lisa hates it. Yeah. And that's why they can't repair this friendship. And then Whitney goes, you did this to me. Mm-hmm. And Heather goes, I believe that Meredith did this.
Yeah. They're saying that Monica's the new Whitney.
Yes.
Yeah, cause she's like,
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Whitney goes, you did this with me.
Yeah, like she's like, I did it for you.
Because she made Whitney tell to the group that Lisa performs oral sex to get tickets, to get whatever the Salt Lake City team ticket is.
The Utah Jazz.
The Utah Jazz tickets.
Yeah. So, and Meredith is like not phased. She's like,
no.
She's like, I work my ass off. I don't have time for doing this kind of stuff, which it is, if you imagine it, it sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of, no, it's not. Creating a fake, I mean, it is, but I don't think she created specifically the account. I think that she knows who created that. Teed up Monica to say, I've been getting a lot of weird DMs. Mm-hmm. Have you? Uh-huh. And then the minute Monica brought it up on camera, she goes, oh, that's your journey. Yeah. You're going to take that to the forefront. I'm doing nothing.
Lisa said she's going to get her cybersecurity team on it.
I like that. She goes, my cybersecurity team can do anything, and they will find out exactly where this is coming from. They also say, Meredith, you were the one who knew Jen Shah's indictment was coming down the pipeline before anybody knew. So they just think she's like doing all this shit behind the scenes.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
And then Angie's like, Google me, bitch. There's no mafia ties with the Castaneda what is it? Castanopolis?
Castanopolis family. Yeah, she goes, Google me, bitch. Heather goes, I've known Angie since she was in middle school. She is not Tony Soprano, which I love the Sopranos reference.
Oh, yes.
That was wonderful. And then what? It devolves into the fight continues.
Yeah, and they tease the book drama next week, which seems sad. But that was it.
Yeah. There were some subtle digs that Heather gave to Whitney again. At one point, she says something like, look how much better Whitney is making Lisa, just to like bring up that Whitney thing again. So I think that their relationship is going to come to the forefront again. Their conflict, it's like simmering this entire time.
Right.
But yeah, I love this episode just because I love that it could balance fun, legitimate fun, with a good game and silliness and jet skis, and then have this conflict, which I thought got much deeper once Lisa revealed that she thinks Meredith does this all the time. It's like the Angie Meredith thing is really just surface and sort of like the fake conflict that a first-time cast member would have with an established one, but the Lisa Meredith thing is way deeper. Yeah. Like that's a feud that has lasted a long time, and now we understand the dynamic.
Yeah.
So
it's also like, I mean, the mafia part just seems ridiculous.
It's a red herring.
Right. And then there's like the money stuff underneath, like the IRS or whatever, but it's like, we don't like know Angie that well, so I don't really care. Like,
Oh no! Oh right. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I don't give a shit about her bankruptcy or tax liens.
No.
I honestly don't even understand how someone on the show would handle that in terms of how would you make that a storyline? Like,
right.
Angie sucks so bad that she's poor. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
it's like she owes the government taxes.
Oh my God, horrible. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that's interesting on somewhere like Beverly Hills where it is about lifestyles of the rich and the famous. Salt Lake isn't.
I guess, but like, okay, even if, let's say, Sutton tells Dorit, we
that
found
would be,
out.
if Sutton owed the IRS $250,000, that would be interesting because all she talks about is how rich she is. Like,
Okay.
that would be relevant.
Okay, so maybe I have to factor in how I just don't know Angie and I don't care and I don't know her wealth, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So yeah, you're right. If it was a different wealthy cast member and we found out, I just don't think that they are treating this like it's fodder that needs to be discussed. I think they're like, isn't it interesting that someone said this, but I'm not going to personally say I care about this. Like,
Right.
I don't care if Angie's in debt. No one does.
No, it's irrelevant. I don't care. Like Salt Lake, I'm like, first of all, we think Meredith might not even live there.
Right.
Like all of their houses are like, I mean, whatever, nice houses, but they're just kind of normal lifestyle. Like I don't know anything about how much money any of them have. So
Me neither.
it doesn't really matter.
It's not. It doesn't. It does not make me think of Angie any differently because I don't know Angie to be anything yet.
Sure.
Except I do believe she's the head of the Utah Greek mafia.
Exactly. You heard it here first.
So
All right.
do you like Angie now, sort of like I do?
Yeah, she's grown on me. I feel like I have a positive spin on her.
Me too. I think she's sort of like Erica did to the cast of Beverly Hills, sort of tweaking their fashion a little bit. I feel like people are getting sort of Angie pilled
Yeah,
on the cast.
I mean, Lisa wore those big pink glasses.
Heather also wore very characteristic sunglasses.
Yeah,
I feel like
they were
Angie's
like
kind of
alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I
Okay.
liked that episode. And now, would you mind, Amy, if we talked about this week's episode of Beverly Hills?
Let's do it.
It just premiered, when you listen to this, just 2 days ago.
Esophagate.
Esophagate. And the reason it's called that is because Sutton has an issue with her esophagus where she can't swallow food properly.
Yeah,
And Anne Marie, is it Anna Marie?
Yeah.
Anna Marie?
I think so. I think it's like, it is ANNEMARIE.
One of these weeks, I do think we'll know what her name is, but she does not concur with the diagnosis of Sutton's doctor and is worried.
She was trying real hard to work her way in through the medical angle.
Right.
It was her only way in.
So this episode, I'll just say the big through lines here, or the
Yeah.
one big through line, is that Sutton's store, Sutton, which is just across from Vanderpump Row, which I never knew
Yes.
that until you told me that, and you
Yeah.
pointed at Sutton's store. I was like,
Yeah.
oh damn, I had no clue. It was just across the
It's
street
right
from.
there.
It's celebrating 4 years in business,
Yeah.
which is notable. 'Cause-
Okay.
No, I think. Oh, you don't think? You think 4 is an odd number?
I'm just like,
I mean, it's an even number.
I am just like, she has unlimited money. She doesn't have to close it even if it doesn't make $1.
She doesn't have to close. Oh, she could always prop up this business.
Yeah.
I think 4 years, if you think about this as just a person who's had a store on that street for 4 years, I think she deserves a party. And if it's an excuse for all the cast to get together, good.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, again, I understand having a business is a lot of work. It's hard, whatever. But it's also like having a boutique is like the ultimate like rich woman like fantasy project.
But Kyle talks about how even Kyle by what's it? Kyle's,
Elaine too.
What's it called again?
Kyle by Elaine too.
Kyle by Elaine too could not survive.
Yeah, because she couldn't pay the rent.
I know, but I'm just saying. So
Sutton can.
You think Sutton? You think so? You think Sutton is paying the bills for?
She's like, sure, I'll pay $20,000 a month or however much it is just to say that I have a job.
Did you see anything clothing wise that you wanted to buy in there?
There was only that one outfit really on display behind them that she took the pearls off of.
I wanted that. I was just gonna say I wanted that necklace that they took off.
Okay.
The pearls.
She also she said that she didn't want to have too much food because everyone was on Activia, but she meant Ozempic.
Yeah. Yes, she did say that. This episode to me, I thought this was mostly filler and not very fun.
Right. What did you think about the intro? It was kind of weird.
It
was like a weird recap where like it was Kyle and Mauricio and she was kind of filling him in, but it was like took place. It was like past and present. Like I was like, what is this?
I did watch that, and I think that it's because of the life coach scene that Kyle has that they really wanted to give us context for what's going on with her and Mauricio.
Yeah.
I will say, I just said this was filler and not the best episode, but I'm actually wrong, and I lied, because I loved how much Kim we got in this episode.
That's true.
And the power of Kim Richards at Sutton's store was almost too much for me to watch. I miss her energy so much.
Yeah.
She's so different.
She's kooky
than everyone on this show that I love every decision she made while she was in Sutton's store. Every single piece of it. So it was almost
amazing.
worth it for that.
Totally. Yeah, to close out the like Sutton's finances of it all, I did like that she was like, I love to celebrate this store. I didn't ask for a dime from anyone. I paid for this all myself. I did it myself. And the producer's like, did you use your spousal support on this project, on this store? And she goes, of course. And I'm like, that was their way of being like, I mean, I guess it's her money, but we know that she gets $300,000 a month from her ex.
You know what? I'll just say, I think that producer question was rude. It is her money.
Sure.
It's her money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but like, it really muddies the waters of like independence.
You're saying she has such a safety net / golden parachute for this business that it's too big to fail.
It's not like a normal divorced family where it's like, we need to pay for diapers and like our kids' school and like the rent that our kids live in our house. So you need to pay me like $3,000 a month or whatever. It's like an astronomical number.
You know what would make Sutton's shop struggle a little more endearing to the audience? If she had a little less money to work with from spousal support, and she gave a significant portion of that monthly stipend to an up-and-coming sort of Bravo.
Maybe she could pay us to make TikToks at her store.
Right. Any way she wants to feasibly make this happen where you can write it off and feel good about it. But
we could do a thing where like the mannequin is naked and then I take that dress and the pearls and I wad it up and throw it at the mannequin and you blink and it's dressed.
That was so good. Or imagine the labels she has in her store, the designer labels, and you have her clip going, name them, and it shows Versace, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana,
oh my God.
Chris Lagerfeld.
Give us cash, Chris Lagerfeld.
Sutton, did you just hear how you can pay us $100,000 a month? And then we know you don't have this safety net, so it makes your store journey much more impactful because the audience knows that you're paying $100,000 to you and I.
Yeah. I mean, the engagement would be huge. The reach would be massive.
Turtle Time Takeover, Sutton Strack edition. No, sorry, Sutton Strack, Turtle Time Takeover. These people get paid $100,000 to do her social media, and we just go absolutely nuts. I would say you and I have to
even if she gave us that just annually, that would be great.
Oh, just $100,000 just for the year?
Yeah. Each.
Do you mind if we talk about that off?
Yeah,
Mike, because
I have a contract drafted.
Okay, can I please permit us to talk about Kyle with her life coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was sad.
This was sad, and I feel Kyle's sadness and her honesty here, and it actually is making Kyle so endearing to me, even more so than I've already been on Kyle's side this episode. Yeah. I can tell how sad Kyle is, and there's even more things going on that like we're only just now learning officially. Yeah. I was like, damn, like Kyle's in a rough, horrible spot. And I will say, when someone is announced as a therapist, life coach, I'm sometimes a little stinker and I'm like, who is this person going to be? And are they going to give good advice? I like this life coach.
Yeah, he was chill. She also said she's known him for 20 years.
I thought this guy, I thought there was a lot of merit to his advice. And I actually thought, I was like, damn, I'm learning something. This doesn't seem like a guy like taking advantage of someone and like they're paying him a lot of money to just like come in there and like toot your horn. Like he was actually kind of like sweet. And I love he said, you know, eventually we can talk about this whole scene, but he goes, there are no obligatory relationships in life.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that probably hits Kyle pretty hard to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, it's funny because I, as I said before, watched Paris in Love, and they did both Paris alone and then Paris and Kathy did like a total BS therapy where talk about like questioning who this woman was. I was just like,
worst case
who the
example of
hell is this? Like, it got nowhere. Her advice was weird. It was like, she was strange and like didn't challenge anything. But part of this therapy session is Kyle reminds us that they flash back to Kathy sending her a legal, like basically cease and desist for when she did that show American Woman, which I forgot about. And I feel like and when they did the flashback of her crying to Kathy about how upset she was, she goes, Kyle.
Yeah. No.
Kyle.
I'm just getting more and more reinforced that Kathy is villainous.
I think the whole internet, because of Paris in Love plus this, is like
good.
Turning. Okay. Whenever I read the comments on any of the clips about like Paris getting sent away or like anything about Kathy, everyone's like, I can't believe she even talks to her. Like,
you know. Well, first of all, she should be canceled for dragging Paris out of her house, kicking and screaming to get sent to that fucking what's that?
Provo Canyon School.
Like, okay, but
remember that happens on Sopranos?
Yes. Yeah. But even regardless of that, watch Kathy react to Kyle go, you're going to write me off now. Yeah. Kathy, you're going to write me off. And she goes, Kyle? Kyle? And it's like, I say this every week, you use Kyle's love for you as a weapon against her, and you withhold your love to make Kyle feel bad.
Yeah.
To make Kyle have to grovel to you to get you back in your life. And it's awful that Kathy treats. And if you tell me she treats Paris bad too, I believe it.
Yeah. No, it's like, and everyone, I think Big Kathy, the mom, was like also very scary.
I think Kathy is Big Kathy reincarnated.
Yeah.
And that's how Big Kathy treated all of them.
Yes. So it's interesting that
I think Kathy is Kathy.
Like literally.
Yeah. And
it's a whole thing. It's interesting that she wanted to defend her mom so much in the portrayal, like, because Kyle like was obsessed with her mom. Like, I don't think I never watched American Woman, but it didn't sound very slanderous.
No, and Kyle says, I remember at the time, Kyle says there's nothing wrong with my portrayal of our mom. Like, she is the hero of this story, despite the real true things that she did. They have a warped relationship. I think their mom in some ways treated them very badly, but it made them more, want her love and affection.
Yeah, it was like a mommy dearest scenario.
Yes.
Okay, and then she opens up more. We had kind of heard this before, but Kyle opens up that her oldest friend in the world, that she'd known since she was 7, died this May. Tragically took her own life.
And this isn't casual friend.
No,
this is like, this was her best friend. They have so much,
especially because she has so much beef with her own sisters. It seemed like this was like her pure and clean sister she could talk to objectively.
She was in her will to help with the kids. If anything should happen to her and Mauricio.
Yeah, and she makes it sound like she had no idea that something like this could happen. Like, it was a total surprise, which is so sad.
I really, like, I couldn't even imagine that if you had no inkling that your friend had these thoughts.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue, and then this happened. You'd be questioning it the entire rest of your life.
Totally. No, it was really, really sad. I felt so bad for her.
Me too.
She was saying how that happened. She was on the outs with her sister, and her marriage was crumbling. So she's basically like on the edge, like she can't take one more thing.
Right. And it's like, and then she's like, when Mauricio started the agency, that got our families like have this horrible rivalry where now I can't even talk about the success of the agency, which is like killing it, the most successful thing in the world.
Yeah.
She can never talk about that with her sisters because it's already a point of conflict.
Right.
So it's like there's all these rifts, and then the one person that she would rely on is Mauricio.
Yeah.
And Mauricio is withdrawn too. So it's like Kyle's mental state is fully clear in my mind. I get it.
Yeah.
There's no leap of logic for me to understand why Kyle's in this state right now.
Totally. It's really sad. I was watching again on TikTok. It was like that after show or whatever. It was
Oh, right.
Kyle and Erica, and they asked Kyle about this loss, and she cries, and Erica's being supportive and stuff, and she talks about it and then says things like, at this point after that, I wanted to focus on myself and surround myself with people that support me and make me happy or whatever. And so many of the comments were like, she's making this death about herself.
Oh my God.
I was like, what the hell?
Okay, I want to talk about it for a second. How
people hate her, dude?
Kyle?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I was neutral on Kyle until probably this season, and now I find Kyle very compelling, and I think I see her new personality shining through. Whatever she did, the work that she's doing, I respect what she's doing. How do you not make something about you when you are personally hurt and grieving by something that happened to you? It's
right. Yeah, like it's in context to the rest of her life.
It's not the same at all, but I could say that same thing about what Sheena said about Tom Sandoval doing that to Ariana.
I know.
It's like how it did affect her, and so she says it affects her, and you say this is hard for me. What are we supposed to say? No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not hard. I thought we celebrate when people have feelings.
Right.
It's like, no, this didn't happen to you specifically, so you can't talk about this. It's like, no. How else do you articulate why something hurts you?
Right. I liked when her therapist was like, you need to, what was it, like, honor that what you lost with her, you have to find somewhere else.
I like that too. I was like, you need to he was saying you need to transfer the feelings that she gave you in your relationship with her onto something else. Like, she had something that you still need.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, this guy's hitting me hard.
Killing it.
And then at the end, he goes, you need to give yourself credit. I forget, I didn't write everything, but he goes, just give yourself credit. You're doing great. And I was like, damn, I like that guy. Like, that guy really had good advice.
Yeah.
And that's very rare on these shows.
Yeah. Because she is doing better. Remember what nervous wreck she always was for so long? Like, I think, do people forget? Like, remember she used to, when they were on the private plane and she's clutching the Zohar, the like Jewish Bible,
that's me
freaking the fuck out.
That's me on every plane.
Well, that's true.
That I still go on. And
but like, and when she was like, had to tell Taylor that she couldn't come into the white party, and she's like absolutely shaking.
Kyle was insecure about her standing on the show for many years in the shadow of Lisa. I think she felt conflicted about what her place was, and she felt like she was always in the shadow of other people. Yeah. And I think it took her a long time to reconcile now that there's no longer Lisa. She is the face of Beverly Hills. Yeah. And I think she's finally able to hold up that center diamond on the show, to use the iconography. Yeah.
Reading the comments, I think one thing that people use against her is that they say she outed her sister as an alcoholic.
That was before she was still new to reality television, and sometimes, unfortunately, you just want to be honest despite cameras and despite what's going on in your life. She was hurt as hell, and she said a horrible thing that she's been dealing with probably for years, and she didn't think that it would be so earth-shattering when the world found that out.
I mean, the gag is that all three sisters still actively participate in this show, so it's like they're all like Hollywood pilled. They see no world in which they can't participate in, if not just this show, but like multiple different shows, and it's like that's their fatal flaw, because if they had a healthy outlook, they would say, this show is ruining our family.
Right.
And they will never stop.
Yeah. So, and as much as people hate Kyle and say, Kyle, you're making this death about you, which is an absolutely evil thing to say, I do think Kyle has very staunch defenders. And I think that she's one of the most celebrated housewives of all time, and probably top 5 most famous of all of them. Like, who almost can stand in as an example of a Bravo housewife.
Totally. Yeah. But I agree with you. I feel like after
You agree with me? What did I say?
Like, hearing what she went through, it's like, yeah, no shit that she would have like a midlife crisis. Like, imagine if you were like, my marriage is crumbling, I don't talk to my sisters, my best friend just fucking died and I didn't realize that was about to happen. Maybe I need to like reassess my life right now.
My best friend just took her own life and I had no idea it was going to happen, but I don't want to make this about me.
And it's all like she's now, I think, realizing that like if drinking makes her feel depressed,
Yes.
I think she's now like scared of like depression.
That hit hard when she said that. I was like, damn. 2 drinks and I feel depressed. I cannot be depressed right now.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. That was the missing puzzle piece, and I feel like that's why they didn't have a lot of focus on her losing her friend, even though she said it like in one sentence a couple episodes ago. They were waiting for this scene that was really going to hit it home.
Right. Which again, I'm like, that's crazy that she hasn't brought it up more, because I'd be like, fuck you bitches, like I don't need to deal with any of you if I just went through that, you know?
Yeah. Can we skip Garcelle's scene?
Oh, please. I only wrote Garcelle dinner. And I also just wrote down Anna Marie family intro. Okay. And Erica signs Vegas deal.
Okay, all right.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, you're right. I do want to just do short shrift on all 3. Anne Marie, there was some stuff to parse, but it was very introductory. I did think it was interesting that she said her husband says she's an 8.5 in every category. Looks. Cooking, personality.
I missed the looks.
Right. Yeah, I know she said looks.
Wow.
But she said her body's a 9.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I think I will say Anne Marie is doing all of the worst things that I don't like first time cast members to do. You insert yourself unnecessarily. You act like you've been here all along and that everyone cares about your perspective on things.
Yeah.
You go, I don't get it. Can someone explain to me why this is happening? And it's like, no, we're not pausing to explain anything to you. We don't know you.
Yeah, like she already has loyalties that are like unearned.
Yeah.
Like she's, I guess, Kyle's friend, so she's automatically on Kyle's side, so she's automatically against Sutton.
Watch Monica, every first-time housewife from now on. Watch what Monica did in Salt Lake. Take notes, and then that's how you act,
yes.
I think.
Yeah, okay.
And then Erica, Vegas residency. We know how that ends up.
Yep. All right, so Sutton's party, they're getting ready. I think you called him Casey Lagerfeld or something, but
I'm sorry, I have it properly in my notes.
It's Carl with a K.
Karl Lagerfeld.
Erica referenced him and said Dorit loves his ass, and then they cut over to Dorit and she's wearing full
she goes,
Chanel.
Is this giving Lagerfeld? Kyle FaceTimes Morgan Wade and kind of gives Morgan the scoop.
Yes.
She's
like, I love getting roasted by Morgan.
She goes, we have this playful, thing where I get roasted to shit by Morgan, and she makes fun of everything about me. And I said, okay. And then we get to see, which this is the part where I was like, it started to pique my interest, because you're right, after 3 flop scenes, I was like, what the hell is going to happen? But then we find out Kim gets to go with Kyle, because Kyle says, not 2 sisters have betrayed me, whatever the hell Sutton said.
Yeah.
Sutton said, whatever Sutton said, dismissively about the sisters. I've got Kim still with me.
Do you think you agree with Sutton that's why she brought her?
Kyle specifically said that I am showing everyone that I have a good relationship with Kim, and I don't care that she did, but they're both right, because she did do it, and Sutton is right to call that out. But what she didn't do, I don't think, is tell Kim her issues with Sutton.
Right. Yeah.
Because Kim goes in there blind.
Hot and blind.
Yeah.
Sutton is like terrified of Kim. They could not be more different.
Sutton is terrified of Kim. In anything.
Kim's a wild card.
So so they get in. Sutton's doing the thing where she's plucking the flowers. She's trying to get it perfect. She's nervous about her party. There's going to be 80 people. They start arriving. Kim and Kyle get there, and they immediately miss the door. And Kim spins around very theatrically, gets in, and then immediately, I don't know what it was, Kim interrupts a conversation that Sutton's having. She peeks from one side. She knows she can't get in there. Then she peeks in the other side, and she just fully interrupts Sutton's conversation with Kimberly. Right?
Okay.
That's the artist who...
Yeah, and she's like, I'm an artist. And Kim goes, me too. She's like, and they're like, really? And she's like, oh, not really. Like, you're a real artist. I just doodle on the walls.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Sutton's like, oh my fucking God.
It's just markers on the floor.
Sutton's like completely flabbergasted and like clearly embarrassed, basically. Like, she's like, you're embarrassing me in front of my fancy friends.
Exactly.
But
I just love that Kim had no idea the feud
and
with Sutton.
Kyle's like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and then Sutton says there could be the loudest crickets you've ever heard in your life if you heard this interaction happening in real life.
Yes. Did you notice that Megan King Edmonds was in the background?
Yes, and Seth Marks and Meredith Marks and one of my friends, you've met him too, Zachary Reality,
he was
in the background.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sutton gives a very weird and bad speech about like being labeled by other women, and then she was like, tonight I do care about labels, as in like designer labels.
Yeah, she used labels, which it could have been a very good turn of phrase in another person's hands. But unfortunately, Sutton was like looking at her cue cards, looking down, kind of stumbling through it. And Dorit goes, "What's happening?" to Erica. And Erica goes, "Just keep smiling."
I know. It reminded me of the Sex and the City movie song that's called Love and Labels.
Oh, I don't know that song.
It's one that's like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, and it's like do do do.
This speech reminded you of that?
Just that the labels wordplay.
Okay, yeah. Sutton gave a bad speech. I was honestly surprised at how bad it was, because you think she'd want to make a good speech at her anniversary and just have it down.
Yeah, no, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's the thing about Sutton, is that a lot of times she flops.
Yes, but I was sort of back on Sutton's side this episode, and I like when people flop hard.
Yeah,
and can still, it's fun to see people flop.
Yeah,
sometimes you're a flop artist, and it's endearing to watch a flop artist.
Yeah, she very awkwardly after her speech goes to the bar and says to Kyle like, "Oh, do I have permission to get my first drink of the night or whatever?" Which is also awkward because, like, obviously Kim is sober.
Yeah, she goes, "Permission from mom," and she's kind of looking directly in between Kim and Kyle. And Kim goes, "Permission from mom?" And Kyle goes, "Yeah, sorry, she's making a dig at me for saying something." And Kim goes, "It could have been about me being an NA." And I thought it was so sad that Kim for a second thought that Sutton was talking about her sobriety and that she shouldn't drink in front of.
That would be terrible.
That would be awful.
Yeah. Yeah, she should have.
And then also you can see Kim start to realize that there might be friction between Sutton and Kyle for the first time. She's honestly like you can see the wheels turning.
Yeah. It was like the that Winona Ryder gif from like the SAG Awards or whatever, where she's like looking around like, huh?
I've still never watched the context for that to see what the hell she's looking around at so much.
It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Did you notice Garcelle and Crystal steal all the food trays, including the one with caviar, which I feel like is like a party foul?
I knew it was a party foul, but for some reason I thought it was powerful for them all to do it, and I thought there was enough people there sitting down to where they could just commandeer.
Well, that's like in You've Got Mail, Meg Ryan rails against Tom Hanks for taking too much caviar, and then on Paris in Love, Kathy gets pissed off and makes a comment. There's like a gag that she keeps forgetting that she's like mic'd at her own party and keeps talking shit about everyone.
Wow.
And she's like, people keep hanging out around the caviar. I want to punish them.
If you have caviar, expect people to be very stoked on it and want to be around it all the time.
Yeah.
Last Christmas, just a personal anecdote, but my wife and I, Megan, who you know, ate Kathy's famous caviar and potatoes. Because we had never, she cooks that for Kyle one time when they like come over, I think 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe last season. And I had never had caviar before.
Was it good?
Oh, yeah. It was
I was
so
thinking
good.
of treating myself for my birthday this year. We like have dinner at my parents' house or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care about like dessert or like cake or anything, but I'm like, can we have caviar?
Use the dessert budget on a little bit of caviar. Yeah, we got like, it is like $20 for like this much or whatever. So you're splurging, but potatoes are like $1.
Yeah.
So you just do the potatoes as much as you want. Those are cheap as hell. And then just add $20 each of caviar.
Yeah.
You make sure you
caviar
get caviar.
Bumps.
You're turning. I mean, I don't want to see
35.
Your age. Oh, 35. That's a big one.
Yeah.
You deserve to have caviar.
Caviar is hot this year. I feel like maybe I've here and there tasted it, but I'm TikTok pilled, and there's one influencer that, if you know, you know, there's this one girl that like popularized caviar on TikTok in the past couple years.
I actually do know that.
And every time I watch her eat it, I'm like, I fucking want that.
Can I give you a spoiler of what it tastes like?
Yeah.
Just
Salty. I've heard sometimes it's nutty. Just like the ocean.
Yeah, it tastes like salty and oceanic, but in a good way.
Pops in your mouth. I can't wait. Now I'm really going to do it.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
Okay. I can breeze through this unless you have stuff. Okay, Kyle goes. So basically Kyle learns that Sutton sort of wants to go to war at this party based off what Sutton said. Her speech was provocative, and that comment was provocative. So then they get into it a little bit more, and then finally, they agree to disagree and at least move forward and apologize.
Yeah.
Kyle says, I'm sorry that I called you an alcoholic or speculated that you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And Sutton said, I went for the jugular with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Sutton says, this isn't a full truce, but we're going to try to rebuild our friendship. And this for now is over, which this has been a long fight.
Yes.
4 episodes.
I know. Yeah. Also, the whole part of it was that like, Dorit found out that she said something about her drinking or whatever that stemmed from Crystal, and Dorit kind of slams Crystal in her confessional. Is like, Crystal really speaks up in this group, so I guess she decided to try and do something here.
She goes, now she's Sutton's carrier pigeon.
She did a slow clap.
Laughing to herself. I did not like this telephone game.
Yeah.
Because Dorit, I'm sorry, unfortunately, you've been on the show for 8 years. You knew that Sutton, the minute she walked out the door, was going to tell her very good friend. She's not good friends with you guys. The fact that you're saying she's putting vodka in her coffee, you think that's not going to get back to
Sure.
Sutton directly. And then Dorit tried to make it like, you said who and who said it.
Yeah.
Kyle and I said it. She tried to fully allow enough gaslight bullshit to make it seem like Crystal was not telling the truth when Crystal just goes, which good on Crystal. She goes,
Yeah.
I told Sutton what you said.
Totally.
That's it.
Yeah. There was also a bunch of bullshit like that about Garcelle and Sutton like reading the Tiffany's website about Kyle's ring. That it was it's like the truth ring or like whatever.
It's like they know that their jewelry scouting thing kind of flopped. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, let's make it more of a thing. What does this jewelry thing mean? I did, though, like how Garcelle was brave when she just came up and she goes, yeah, I know what I said about your jewelry. I said it was a makeup gift.
Yeah. Garcelle will always speak the truth.
Yeah, she doesn't like give a shit.
Also, did you think it was weird that Erica said she was so high at that dinner that she slept for 17 hours? Do you think everyone lied about their milligrams?
Oh, no. So I think, I believe, Erica, that she was the only one that was actually high.
Yeah.
And I think whatever milligram dosage she did was enough to knock her on her ass. I believe
5 milligrams make you sleep for 17 hours?
I only can say I believe Erica. And you can insert me saying that for her entire trajectory on the
Riley
show.
believes women.
No, I did seem her reactions and everything in the moment seemed like she was high as a kite.
Yeah.
And so
also Sutton, when she like storms outside after that weed dinner and like stares at the driver, I think she was like in like the demon zone.
Yeah, I thought they were a little bit high. I did like that they gave Dorit the long talk edit as Dorit tries to make the case for why Crystal's in the wrong for telling Sutton this.
I know.
And they show her and Crystal goes, I'm bored. And I was like, okay, Crystal.
Yeah.
I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so then the medication and the throat conversation begins about gabapentin, because Sutton's like, that's not a problem. You can drink on it. But Anna Marie says that is not true.
And then Sutton says, well, my doctor says I can. And Anna Marie goes, well, you can't. And she goes, are you my doctor?
Yeah, which is valid.
And then Sutton goes, I feel like I'm at a doctor's exam right now. I feel like I'm in the exam room right now with my doctor, which I agree.
Yeah, it was way too much.
And also, she started to lose herself in the details where she was like, if you have an esophagus issue, only you would chew more times and eat more food. It's like, do you really want to make it your thing? Like, you really want to get to the bottom of Sutton's esophagus
It's ridiculous.
issue? It was a weird hill for her to die on.
I liked when Erica was like, I do pills and drink all the time. And they're like, we know.
Oh, yeah. Garcelle had another good moment
we
there.
remember.
Yeah.
But you know what's weird? This woman, I'm sorry, that I follow on TikTok, she is like a mom who cooks dinners on the cheap. Like,
ooh, I need to follow.
Yeah,
that.
you should. She goes, time to cook dinner with what's on hand.
Okay.
But anyways, she randomly started talking about her esophageal issue.
Oh, what is
and
it?
she explained it completely, which it sounded similar to Sutton, where essentially it's like an autoimmune. I mean, it's different. I don't like every version of it is different. It sounded like Sutton said her brother has it too. But anyways, it's basically an autoimmune thing where she has an allergy they figured out to gluten that basically flares up like GERD. And so when she is getting that, her throat like closes. And when they did put the camera down her throat, she was covered in scar tissue, which like constricts your throat. So sometimes you like do choke on food because your throat's all fucked up. So they can widen it if you want. And that's what Sutton was saying. She has opted not to do.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But I was like, how weird that someone I randomly follow went on a 10-minute deep dive about their esophagus.
Yeah. I mean, the timing couldn't be more perfect.
So I had newfound sympathy for Sutton in that sense. Because it's like, I mean, I bet she also just doesn't eat because she wants to be skinny. But, you know.
Yeah. But at least she has an excuse to where she can say, you're trying to, talk shit about my esophageal issues.
Yes.
Erica says, give a blowjob, and that'll stretch out your esophagus.
Deep throat.
And then Sutton, to end the conversation with Anne-Marie, says, are we good, doctor? Which I really liked that. Because it was just funny that she's like making fun of this person who she doesn't know for giving her medical advice.
It was a bad intro, though. It was so annoying.
Anne-Marie's.
Yes.
It was very bad.
I'm
and
like,
it was just... I would, if I was a first-time cast member, which you and I'm sure will be someday, I would rather have the I stay in the back scene for a little while until I have a great point than be the person who comes out guns blazing with a really stupid issue and you look lame.
Yeah, like
Sutton, you had your ass handed to you by Sutton.
Yeah,
Sutton goes, "Are we good, doctor?"
Yeah,
and then
she's
Sutton
like,
goes,
"That's so condescending."
I know, and then Anne-Marie tries to save face by going like, "Oh, you're so brave," and then looks away like she knows the conversation's over, like she kind of flopped. And then Sutton
it's
goes,
also like you're in Sutton's house, like her store, like just chill.
And then Sutton goes, "I want to just take a moment to enjoy that all of my friends are here. Seth Marks, Meredith Marks. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to let myself be proud of myself." And then her and Kyle and Kim get a nice, beautiful photo together at the end of the episode.
I did. At one point, I was going to say that Kim should offer to paint Sutton's store, but she did say that.
Yeah.
She's like, I think Sutton needs some paint on these walls.
I feel like we did rush Kim's presence. She had one of the most iconic intros. I immediately was like, I miss Kim so much. Yeah. Every scene and everything she says is so much more fun when Kim is around. I hope she continues to be on this show. And so this episode was saved just to get that full Kim experience that I loved.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. They did. They did a full later this season preview. Sutton licks Kyle's feet, it looks like, at one point.
You know what? I did not watch the preview for next week.
Okay.
That's interesting.
It's like they show a preview of that white party at SoFi Stadium, and it looks like Erica performs there, and I think Sutton eats shit and falls onto the ground.
Oh, no, I think I saw that.
And then later they go to Spain, and Crystal is hospitalized. Which I hope that doesn't turn into a Bravo reckoning.
Because they'd be like, Bethany would be like, they went to Barcelona and they couldn't get her air conditioning.
She needed an IV drip.
Oh man, I hope that doesn't happen either. Wow, I can't believe that happens to Crystal. I didn't watch that yet. That's horrible. I'm excited for them to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, Winter House.
The Winter House Minute.
Yeah,
This is the second to last episode.
Yeah, Winter House Minute. I love Winter House.
Yes.
But I think it's easy to recap and do it justice.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
This is basically the first portion is a continuation of Danielle's mental breakdown.
Yes. She's after she talked to herself in the mirror saying, "You're good. You can do anything." Danielle, she goes, "Fuck him." And then as she walks out of the room, Alex is for some reason walking right by and she goes, "Fuck you." Right to him.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
And then Danielle does not stick around for long. She decides to go to bed and ends her night. And I never thought I'd see Danielle go to bed early.
Thank God.
Well, you think she needed to.
Yes.
She couldn't subject the world to that wrath.
No, she was pissing everyone off.
Yeah. She got so pissed about the Chinese food. She goes, "Oh, we're doing it like this? I'm sorry. I've never been a part of something so horrible in my life than how you guys are eating Chinese food." Everybody's like, "What the hell
Everyone's
are you talking about?"
Looking at each other like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, she's like, "This is the worst thing I've ever been a part of."
I'm sorry. That was the quote. This is the worst thing. It's like, what? Eating Chinese food just haphazardly over the sink?
She walks past Alex and goes, "Psycho." She was like a gremlin.
Okay, you made me question slightly that Alex was behaving untoward towards Danielle with his I want to get laid and,
Sure.
then be promiscuous around the house with more people. Have you now at all had a little more nuance to what Alex expected from this relationship?
I think it's okay to upfront state your expectations, whether or not he chooses to agree to them. But she took it so far.
But I think she upfront, even this episode, she says, I just wanted to come on a cabin trip and have a little fun on vacation. And he goes, I thought that's what we were doing too.
Yeah.
And she goes, fuck off. No, she says,
yeah.
She's like, he goes,
no, she was bullshitting him because she clearly cares more than that.
I think we have to say objectively, Danielle wanted something more than what she told Alex this was.
Yeah.
Alex thought this was a fling, and she knew that he sort of also liked Jordan and every other cast member, and she wanted more out of this than him.
Sure.
And now she is hurt that he treated her like this. That's just like the basics. But I feel like Alex is starting to really be upfront about his feelings. I mean, he's withdrawn completely. And then he specifically says, let's focus on our friendship.
Yeah. He said that dealing with her is like above his pay grade. He was like, I cannot. And they do a quick, first of all, Floody announces that Schwartz is coming back, that he survived the reunion. And then Sam is also coming. And they're like, maybe this will be the trip that puts a label on it. And Corey's like, no. Yeah. Still not owning it.
Did I already say last week that I think this label thing is so ridiculous that he's like holding out like he's going to propose boyfriend and girlfriend to her? Like she just has to wait in the wings for him to say officially, you're my girlfriend. Like this lead up to that is ridiculous. And I honestly can't believe Sam is dealing with it.
Right. Because the second she arrives, he like picks her up. They're like obsessed with each other.
The, like, MGK Megan Fox thing spinning around. She's like, they will like want to have sex instantly. She like takes off her pants.
Yeah, and Schwartz is like, he arrives. He's like, I'm back at it again. He's like, I'm back where it's safe. It's scary in LA. This is the day after the reunion.
I could not believe he came back and that we only had to lose him for one episode. He did a huge trip back to LA reunion. Then he gets to go back to his comfort
I'm
zone.
sure he was so happy to get back. And he said he got one beer with Sandoval.
Oh, that was great context.
Yeah.
Sandoval came to Schwartz's house after the reunion, had one beer and apologized again and then left.
Yeah.
And then Casey, who seems to be in the know about Sandoval details, says, are Raquel and Sandoval going to continue a relationship? He goes, what do you say? He's
like, they better be like the greatest love of all time after what we've all been through.
Which we all thought that. Like, we were like, they have to just carry on with this relationship.
Remember Stassi was like, they better like have a baby or something because this is insane.
And now we're like so removed they don't even talk. Like they like this relationship ended completely. Schwartz gives, I was very, I was scrutinizing this. He gives Katie Flood very half-hearted hug when he arrives. It's kind of like he almost doesn't even give her the full hug and then immediately goes to look over at someone else to give them a hug.
Right.
And her face is like she's kind of dejected.
She was so happy for him to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so two things. Casey and Sam are getting along and bonding, and everyone's like, yikes, like she doesn't know that she called her trash. And Malia and Corey have vibes that have been talked about on Du Moi that Sam has read, and she's immediately furious. She says Malia's desperate.
So one of those little Steamboat Springs stinkers came to the house and told, I think it was Bravo and Cocktails, that Malia and Corey had flirty energy. So people came to that house and then ratted out what was going on in the house. So Sam has read blind items about Malia and Corey flirting. And then, can I just be honest and say I don't think Corey really helped the case by bopping Malia on the head, throwing a snowball on her, and then getting in a big tackle fight where he landed on top of her and they rolled around in the snow together?
Yeah.
Was there any valid reason why he did that? That they have brother and sister energy so bad that he can't contain himself around Sam and roll around? Well,
it's also like weird that Sam just doesn't say what the fuck to him instead of being so pissed off at Malia instead.
But it's shocking to everyone. It's not like, I'm sorry, Sam, you got to get used to it. This is how Malia and Corey have been the entire 2 weeks. It seemed weird to everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And Corey also sets Sam up by saying, just so you know, baby, everyone tried to fuck me when I got here. And she goes, name them. Name them. Who? And he goes, oh, every one of them. They wanted to fuck me absolutely,
It was
unequivocally.
giving Jax. He's like, I had to like throw him off me.
So you're just setting Sam up for failure here to be jealous of your relationship when he's not saying you're officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And then you do her one more horrible solid by throwing a snowball in Malia's face and tackling her to the ground. It was just, it was so odd. I couldn't believe he decided to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So then,
oh wait, can I say one thing? Because we're moving quickly. Moon biking.
It looked fun.
That looked awesome.
With the tube getting pulled behind.
I've never seen that type of vehicle before in my life.
I know. It was kind of strange.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it looked really fun.
Okay.
Danielle and Alex have a talk.
Yep.
And this is what we were talking about. And she goes, what is he? She says, I don't need a teachable moment. And he goes, you're almost 10 years older than me. I don't know what I could teach you. I was like, ouch.
And the way he said it was so dispassionate and just like, I'm just telling the truth, that it almost hit harder and hurt harder.
Yeah, it was like, yikes.
And then she goes, I just wanted to have fun. He goes, well, this isn't fun, or, something to that effect. And he goes, I think we should just focus on her friendship.
Yeah.
She goes, I forget what she says dismissively, but she's mad. And she storms off and she goes, good talk.
Yeah.
Sarcastically.
Yeah.
So it's like, he just said honestly what he wants and what he thinks she should do. And you're still mad at him for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say devil's advocate or being that he played with her heart. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Alex was sort of upfront. I have to say. And I'm not just trying to advocate for him.
No, he was. Like all the footage they always show of him, it's not like he's being two-faced.
Also, Danielle would have fights with him and then still want him. She'd say, come on, let's stop fighting and just get into my bed. Let's do what we do best and rut around.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Like she just wanted it anyways.
Wanted his sex?
Yes. Similar to what Kyle tells Floody to say to Schwartz. She's like, Kyle's like, text him and say, put your P in my V.
Who said that?
Kyle told Floody to text that to Schwartz.
This episode he did?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and then I have it that, they're sort of gearing up for a roast.
A roast? Did that scare you?
And now roasts are the new, let's play a game where people can get offended. It's a new layer of how you can talk shit about someone and have conflict, but you gussy it up as this other thing.
Right. Some of the should we do some of the highlights?
I thought Brian was roast master because his was so unnecessarily harsh. Could I say his?
What was it?
He goes, Corey, your jewelry is so fake that you probably bought it on the same corner where you picked up Sam.
Oh my God.
I go, oh my
Does
God.
he even know her yet?
No.
Yeah, and then Kyle was playing with fire. He said, Casey throws that trash word around like she's in waste management.
He really did Casey dirty with that, wanting the trash comment to come out. I thought that was kind of shitty of him because they already discussed how they're not going to talk about it. But I do want to say Casey should have preempted this and said it the minute Malia started, or Sam started to be nice to her.
Yeah.
She said, I have to tell you. Like, she should have just done the hard work. I have to tell you. I don't know you at all. And to be in, to like be a confidant to someone, I talk shit about you and I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. But she didn't do it. She's letting it linger. Yeah.
And then Malia tries to make a joke about the tackle.
Yep.
And
she goes, I know I'm a lot to tackle, or we're a lot to tackle.
Yeah. And Sam's like, you're the one that did the tackling, but okay. And she's like, that's the joke, you dumb bitch.
Yeah. And then Schwartz kind of did a fun, sweet roast, which I like.
His was good.
Yeah, his was his was.
It was like a classic.
It was a
roast.
very it was a classic, like, good-hearted, good-natured roast.
Yeah, like he was like, Alex was voted most good-looking.
It was like
biggest heartthrob or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that should be saying something because he was homeschooled or whatever.
It was just funny, and he knew Alex would be a good sport about it. It was the perfect victim for his roast. I really liked it. And then Alex and Danielle do their roast to each other.
Yeah.
So
Alex's is about how Danielle snores like.
Yeah, he goes, he goes, Danielle, you're one of the most badass bitches I've ever met in my life, and you are so powerful and fun, but goddamn, your snoring sounds like a fork in a garbage disposal.
Yeah. And then they show like multiple clips.
Yeah. And then
her I just wrote that hers was dark.
Hers was Alex may look like Jesus and that he could turn water to wine, but instead he just whines to everyone, all of you, about me, and I think that's horrible or something. It's like it skirts the line between not fun and too real.
Yeah.
Then Malia and Sam, who have had, Sam is not happy with how Malia and Corey have been interacting, which I can't see why. She doesn't like Corey and Malia rolling around in front of her.
Sure, but it's like, don't get mad at her. She said the whole time is that they ask him every 2 hours if he's in a relationship.
I'm very sorry if I tried to skirt blame away from Corey. He is 100% to blame. It's absolutely his fault. Every aspect of this is his fault.
Yeah, she's like, Sam, Malia's like, he tells us over and over again that he's in a situationship, not a relationship.
Malia goes, just to be honest with you, he did not tell us where he stands.
And Sam's like, good to know.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think Sam says something like, well, you should think of how that feels for me or whatever. And Malia's like, I mean, that wouldn't be me. I would never. She's basically saying, I would never let someone treat me that way.
Yeah, you should be like, how would you feel if you were in a relationship with someone for 8 months? She goes, honestly, I wouldn't be in a relationship like this, for a situationship like this for 8 months.
Which was a burn.
Shots fired. Major burn. Unexpected, almost, the way Malia delivered that. I don't think she knew that was going to hit.
I think she's like, Sam. Sometimes, I'm trying to remember how she was on Summer House or whatever.
She talked about herself so much that Maya had to go in a closet with her off camera and say, Sam, you have to stop
shut the fuck up.
Talking so much.
And then she cried that she was bullied or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like she thought that she could be dominant over Malia. Malia was like, I'll murder you.
Yes. That was my impression as well. Malia kind of ethered her in that moment. The fight escalates, and then we get a to be continued.
Yes.
Winter House Minute, I think, has concluded, right?
Yeah, and so next week, the only notes I wrote down is that Danielle is pissed off at Jordan, which also feels like a foolish endeavor. And Sam cries to Corey.
Sam is upset
Danielle.
Oh, okay, of course. Okay, that makes sense.
Because that's also not her fucking problem.
No.
As Danielle says, or as Jordan says, if I wanted your man, he would have been mine on day one.
And Jordan was right for that. It's true. He wanted Jordan first.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're at 3 hours and 5 minutes. We're teetering on our longest episode ever, which we didn't go into this thinking that could ever happen.
There's a lot of shows.
It's a lot of shows. We need to figure out how to make this feasible. But our 3-hour episode, I was happy with this. I mean, it's that I think we did okay here today.
Yeah, I feel like some of them are wrapping up. Next week is the last Winter House.
I know, but don't say that, because then Bravo is going to announce a new Peacock exclusive show that we're going to have to watch. It's premiering next week.
No. Help us.
But we're going to figure out. I mean, our strategy for Turtle Time is to be responsive to emergencies like we were with Vanderpump Rules, like on remotely if we can, and then just weekly see what is providing us the most joy from all of these shows, and spend as much time as we deem their merit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we will be reporting as best we can through this holiday season. Our Patreons, actually, the upcoming Patreon episodes will air on Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
Yes. So if you were worried about what you're going to do on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, if you haven't signed up for Patreon, sign up right now. I'm saying go right now, and you'll get a Christmas episode and a New Year's Day episode to celebrate the holidays with Amy and I.
It'll be beautiful.
So definitely you have to sign up for Patreon. I don't know what the hell you're doing. It's a powerful, wonderful community there. Patreon is going to add a feature now called Community, where people can have a live chat and discuss things with themselves, because now the comment system, you're so isolated when you comment. You'll say a comment and no one feels compelled to reply. So Patreon is going to create a community where it's like an ongoing Reddit thread can happen.
That's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, go to Patreon for the love of God. And do we have to, let's not talk about the scheduling shit. You already did.
We'll get back to you on what the schedule's going to look like.
Just know Santa Claus is bringing an episode of Turtle Time weekly, just like always. But what we talk about is up for discretion based on when we record it. But I hope that you guys can just come to Turtle Time for 90% of the Bravo universe is covered with us.
Yeah.
And that's all we can give you.
Yep.
Okay. Amy and I love you. 3 hours and 7 minutes. I can't believe it. 3 hours and 8 minutes. We love you so much. Go to sleep tonight and dream beautiful dreams, and then we will be back next week.
Good night and good luck.
Good night and good luck.
This one's for you tonight.